My mother-in-law always falls for scams. This time, it's breaking my family.
Don't answer the phone, Grandma.
Do not read.
Mother-in-law lives in Laos, a developing country in Asia. I was born there too, but left when I was 10 months old. Mother-in-law had fallen victim to romance scams in the past, but only losing maybe $2,000 to $5,000.
Only?
A lot. That's a lot. Oh, man. The romance scams really get you.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. We knew she had in the past 6 months fallen for another romance scam, but I didn't think it was serious. By the way, this comes from Fuggles McGee. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my wife has in the past 4 years completely renovated her mother's house, new backyard, new additions to the house, even left her still relatively new car for her mother. My wife also sends her about $700 a month for expenses, the same amount she sends to her father, and he says it's more than enough. Mother-in-law is not cash rich, but has access to properties. Put an I see you in the chat to see where this is going.
Oh, no.
I think Grandmama is going to will some land to a dashing stallion on the internet.
Oh, no.
Well, we would then hear things like how mother-in-law is very frugal, lives like a destitute person. Mother-in-law would constantly be asking my wife for advances in her allowance. Then we would hear from others that mother-in-law told people that we have never sent her any money at all, not even $1.
But I'd be sending you $700 a month.
Woe is me,
That's
mother-in-law.
700x.
Woe is me.
Grandma?
An attempt to convince that person to lend her money. Then we start getting calls from village elders and family members that mother-in-law is trying to pawn properties for loans, some successfully.
Dude, what's worse, giving the property to the person or pawning them off to try to...
Because she's probably not getting a good deal. She's probably just trying to shovel it off any way she can.
This is bad.
She has no intentions of paying these loans. For the papers we could get, they take the property after 6 months of back payments. Mother-in-law thinks she will be living in the U.S. by the time the loans are due, and her great lover will pay off the loans. Oh, no. She's been able to pawn things that aren't even in her name. She has pawned in the past month jewelry, $10,000, 4-acre plot for $12,000, but the real value is $50,000.
Oh.
Scooters, $1,000. Rental advance from the business property she owns 1/6 of, $20,000. My wife's car, $3,000. The real value, $15,000. The roughly $50,000 she received from the loans, she's already given away to the scammers.
And it's so, dude, it is so tragic because not only has she given away the 50 grand in cash, but there's like basically almost another 50 grand in value.
Yeah.
That
I genuinely think we should like have courses for older people who aren't super used to using the internet to like teach them how to not fall for these scams.
Yeah. I mean, she's just she's probably just so lonely, and just like,
yeah.
But this is like just like a huge thing that impacts older people in general, like falling for scams.
Yeah.
Driver's license and anti-scammers license. We need that.
Well, she's also attempted to sell, but were stopped by officials, another 4-acre plot for $18,000, and the real value is $100,000. Her own house in the capital, right now in the central business district, tried to sell it for $100,000. The real value is $500,000. No. Her 1/6 plot for the family business property, $50,000, real value $250,000. So she's trying to sell everything.
And it's, dude, it's so tragic because like Gopi said, she's not cash rich, but she has all these assets and just like pennies on the dollar. Like this could be, it's not like couldn't take care of generational wealth, but these are things you can pass down.
I mean, it may be a Laos like this.
Maybe Laos,
yeah. I mean, this is like, it's like almost like $1 million in assets. It feels like we've gone through, like, right? Close to it.
Yeah. $1 million USD.
My wife's family is not used to confrontations. I think it's actually a cultural thing. So despite everyone knowing what needs to be done, no one is leading. So I guess I am. In 3 weeks, we'll be landing in Laos. I will need an intervention, around 10 people, victim impact statements, etc. I got my sister-in-law and mother-in-law ex-husband to talk to the officials to make sure the second farm plot and house and family businesses cannot be sold, as the village officials have to sign off on it. We will pay off the car loan and then sell the car. We cannot get back the plot of land without mother-in-law helping, as she has the loan papers, and these loan people are shysters. So unless mother-in-law is convinced she has been scammed, that plot is gone. If mother-in-law comes to her senses, we will use use the car money and put in our own money funds to buy back the land. We stopped sending mother-in-law money last month. We pay her utility bills directly, pay sister-in-law to buy groceries to put in her fridge. Issue with the house she's trying to sell is 2 of her daughters and quite often 1 or 2 grandkids also live there. Losing the house will not just affect mother-in-law. Yeah. So she's kind of imploding the whole family.
Yeah, this is really bad. Amber Sparks made a great comment in chat. AI boyfriends for nanas. No scamming, no nothing, just
AI boyfriends. That is a great business.
I legitimately think that's a great idea if we market AI boyfriends and partners for older people.
And then, are you ready, Sophia?
Yeah.
We also have them throughout educate them about the scammers.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah, they're like, I love you so much. Did you know that millions of old people get scammed every day?
Yeah.
And I love you every day of the year.
I love you so much. I want to show you this example of a phishing email.
If you've read this far, holy thank you. I need help with this intervention. I've never even done one before and need some guidance. We plan on taking her smartphone and replacing it with one of those brick Nokias. I'm expecting the intervention to last 5 to 6 hours and also think of not letting her leave the house even for days or weeks until she gets it. If she doesn't wake up and realize what's happening and pawns the house she lives in, we will not help. I will not put up $130,000 for this bat crap crazy lady and risk my own family's financial future. So this intervention, as serious as it may get, has to work or we'll be cutting mother-in-law completely from our life. I guess what I'm asking is, for those who have successfully got their family members to realize they were scammed, what did it? How were you successful? How is the process like for someone this deep in? And in edit, my wife approached me with a solution that her sister looked into. I think we're going to check mother-in-law into a mental health substance clinic and a hospital referred us to. We have spoken with the police who will take her to the clinic. Curious what some people think of a solution being. And we do have some comments from OP. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is a hard situation, but I mean, kudos to OP for being the one to kind of like organize everyone. It sounded like everyone wanted to do it, but no one was kind of like taking that step. But now everyone's like kind of coalescing around it, which is great to see. And yeah, like see if you can get like an institution like that is properly equipped and trained to handle this.
Yeah, but I think it's like, I think you need to check in the institution, but you also, I think, need someone to check up on her after she leaves, or the fact that she's staying there or whatever. Like, I mean, like, you don't want her giving away even more money. Like, can you also like restrict her power to, like become a person that looks over her assets, or like an
power
executor?
Of attorney.
Yeah, power of attorney.
At least in the U.S., I don't know what it would look like out there, but yeah, maybe there's some sort of power of attorney that OP's partner can get for her or something like that.
Better plan. Set her up on a date with a real person. Then she doesn't need to fall for these romance scams because she's got someone.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, hire nanny. If you hire Nana a full-time gigolo, that's probably cheaper than all of this internet scamming.
That is what.
And then maybe Granny would be a little less stressed.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just to preserve what you have left.
Yeah,
just full send it.
And then also now you have someone looking after Granny. That's like a live-in maid that also gets down to business.
Just a hot male nurse. That's basically
hot male nurse
that knows what time it is.
That knows what time it is and knows when it's time to lay some pipe. Yep.
This is not what I wanted.
I'm just saying. I feel Granny has needs.
It kind of seems like that. I can't even lie. Listen, these old people, those rates of infection go crazy in these retirement homes.
That they do. Yeah. That they do.
Old people will be getting after it.
Yeah.
What else
old people get horny too.
Yeah, come on.
That's why I've started a new charity.
Here we go.
Called Solving Horniness for Old People.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Hopefully it won't be a long problem for anymore. Every old person is paired up with a gigolo or gigolette and just has their loneliness and their frustrations completely satisfied, so they're not giving away their fortune. But we got more of the story. So OP's comments. Eraser X200 says, unfortunately, it usually takes them running out of money. They want to believe what they are being told is true so bad, convincing them otherwise is almost impossible. On YouTube, there's a channel called Catfished. Maybe you can contact them and have them show that it's a scam. And LP respond, yes. Sad as it is, if this intervention doesn't work, we're out. My wife agrees. She's even sold my wife's jewelry and replaced them with fakes. Wife feels constantly betrayed. And a commenter responds, bit of a cultural point. If your wife was raised in Lao culture, cutting off her mother would basically be impossible for her. It's one of the gravest sins in their culture, no matter what the parents does. I don't know her nor your relationship, but I would be highly skeptical about her alleged agreement to wear out. She might have agreed to make you happy, avoid conflict, and move things along, but don't count on that happening so easily in the way an American would imagine. And OP responds, yeah, you're right. If it came down to it, the kids and grandkids have places to go. She doesn't. My wife would probably get a rental and pay someone to fill it with groceries. And commenter says it's very likely that even if you seem to get through to her, you pay off anything, and then she'll go right back to sell it again and give more to the scammer. We see this story time again here. The intervention or ultimatum seems to work, but very quickly they go back to the scammer again because, the core suffering hasn't been resolved. It's not like you can't shame this person into changing. What they're really looking for is companionship.
Yeah.
And so the only thing I feel like that could work in this situation is gigolos for grandmas.
Like they can find friends. That's a huge thing. Maybe there is I think there could be a true matchmaking that they could attempt to help facilitate companionship in all areas of life.
Yeah, in every area.
Yeah. Oh God. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
I mean, in Japan, so one of the things I'm doing in Japan is I'm renting an old man.
And shout out where you got that from.
Stevie. Yeah. Our friend Stevie. But so I'm going to rent an old man. They're like $6 an hour. And really, I mean, it's just because they want to hang out with people and have friends.
You get paid to hang out with people.
Yeah. And there's so many old people that want to feel useful. So they have these old man rental services.
Yeah. It's so great.
It's so great.
I just love it.
I'm going to rent 100.
Yeah.
100 old men. Just for me.
100 old men versus Sam.
Oh, wow. That's a thumbnail.
But then you just, hang out.
Just hang out.
That's the verses.
Yeah. Well, you need to make sure to protect the house so our kids have a place to live. And OP responds, here's what's more messed up. The house actually was the family house of her ex-husband's parents. They divorced, but he agreed to not split the house or have his name on the deed because he said his kids and grandkids are living there and he was happy his kids and grandkids could use it. Father-in-law is a cool dude and no one blames him for leaving. An update, March 29th, 1 month later. Before we go into the update, John, do you think anything has changed?
Not really much. I mean, I guess it's way better than nothing, their plan. Like, for instance, they mentioned like Opie's partner would maybe put her in an apartment, buy groceries, so she doesn't directly have the money, looking at an institution they can put her in. I think it is definitely way better than nothing. But I think, like you said, the important part to call out is the core issues not being addressed or solved by that, which is her loneliness, her want for companionship. And I think if we did all the things they're already doing combined with trying to address the companionship issue, that could actually has high potential for fully solving the problem.
Yeah, but like you said, root of the problem needs to be solved. But we got an update 1 month later. I never thought there'd be a part 2 because I didn't think there would be a point. But here it goes. And guys, we're less than a third of the way through the story.
Oh, God.
All right, so the first few days we arrive in Laos, my mother-in-law is nowhere to be seen. On day 3, we get one of her friends to ask her to meet up casually. She says she can't. She's in another city for a funeral of her friend. We then figure she's hiding out in her country farmhouse an hour away. So now it's harder to get a lot of people in my planned intervention. Still, 6 people pack in a van, her brothers, her daughters, including my wife and me, and we head out. Okay, so we're getting into the intervention. We park and one of our daughters approaches the farmhouse. She calls out her mom and her mom answers and tells us to go away. We surround the farmhouse and everything is locked. Granny knows what's coming.
Dude, this is it's like when the SWAT team comes up.
Yeah. She's like, open up.
She's got a hostage in there.
Yeah.
I won't go.
My prince
You'll never take me alive.
He's on my phone.
We keep telling her that we just want to talk, but we'll break down the doors if she doesn't unlock the doors. Mother-in-law refuses to answer. There are 2 doors inside. One is boarded up and impossible to get through.
Whoa.
She does not want to be reached. The other, we use a crowbar to wedge open the door. We get through the lock, but this woman has used coat hangers wrapped around the doorknob, attached to something to keep us out. It's almost like she's booby-trapped the house.
Yeah, this is like Home Alone crazy grandma version.
So now we spend 10 minutes getting through that. We go through the house, and she's locked in the bedroom. So now we start to use a crowbar on this door. As we do so, she's screaming that we're coming to unalive her. Great. We get in, and she's an absolute mess, hair all over the place, just general unkempt. Her older brother tries to talk to her really, really calm, like a good guy being nice, calm. He gets the old 1-2 from her. She's getting ba-ba.
Hi-ya!
She's also a heavyset woman, probably hurt a little, even if she's elderly. So I sit down, and I totally think I got this, right? Dude, I don't know.
I would not be thinking that.
Well, I've seen some screenshots of her phone that people have managed to take and was able to piece together a possible story. So I laid out on her common enough romance scam. Scammer sends her something, gets stuck in customs. She sends money, but it's still stuck. Then the story escalates to the scammer coming to visit her, then is arrested and needed bail. Now it's her fault and she needs to send money to bail him out. It's okay. When he's out, he will pay whatever costs she incurred. And they'll fly away to another country and live happily ever after. I spend 3 hours over logic and reason. Like, why can't this guy call his embassy if he's stuck? Doesn't say a word, but does look at me when I talk. Finally, at hour 5, everyone is tired and giving up. I give her a hug, and she absolutely breaks. Maybe we've gotten through to her.
Whoa, okay.
She starts crying, telling us she believes us. Everyone hugs each other, which does not happen in this country. People are crying. I'm like, yeah, I got this. She wants to spend another night at the farm, though. I get that. She's lost someone. Like, she's lost, like, this person that she thought was her lover.
She's grieving it. Yeah, 100%.
This lover that no longer existed and who never loved her, she needs to grieve. Do we believe it?
Yes, you can stay here, but I'm staying with you.
Yeah.
I think that's...
And I'm taking your phone.
And taking your phone. Yeah, it's like kind of the give and take. Like, hey, I'll stay here with you. You know, let's have this one more night, but I'm going to take your phone because, like, I want to
ensure that you're not going to go back. But, yeah, I feel like this is all a ploy to just get them.
Yeah.
Just get them off her back.
You 10,000% could be right. Yeah.
I asked for her phone, but she doesn't want to give it that night. She will give it tomorrow, but promises not to contact the scammers.
Oh, well, we should definitely believe her.
OP, please tell me you took away her phone. Please.
At this point, if you don't take away her phone, you're just stupid.
Yeah. You're getting scammed by the person getting scammed.
That's true. She's learned from the best.
Everyone leaves in good spirits. I see you.
No.
I see you.
So silly.
You're so silly. You're silly billies. People seem happy and dinner's had. Next day, mother-in-law returns. I see her for maybe 5 minutes. Everyone seems good. I decide to go the route of starting on the family recover part. Then a few days later, go for the financial part. We are staying in a hotel, not with my mother-in-law. So the next day, family dinner is had. People are happy to have their mother back. 2 days later, bigger family dinner. Mother-in-law seems happy. She agrees to talk about the financial part the next day. This whole time, I did not get the phone back from her. I was so focused on getting the family part back. Oh, I see you. I see you. I see you. Oh my gosh. All right. Mistake. At the table, I sit myself, mother-in-law and her daughters. I start with a simple, you do still believe us and not the scammer Kevin, right? She replies with, I don't know what you're talking about. There was never a Kevin. So yeah, she's still talking to the scammer. Now everyone's pissed. One of her daughters throws photocopied text conversations between her and the scammer while yelling at her mom, oh yes, that was Kevin. I can't believe this crap is happening. I try to keep everyone calm, but everyone is upset. What's crazy is that she seems to realize the scam, but at the same time still believes the scammer. We ask for property titles so she can't pawn or sell things, and we recover some things, but she only gives us partial documents or photocopies. So everyone is more pissed. She keeps denying having any loan papers, but the loan sharks kept them all. We don't believe it. She takes out her phone and starts to go through it to find one of her loan documents. My wife decides this is it and lunges at her mother for the phone.
Whoa.
My wife might be slim, but she's active at the gym. And I, of course, naturally have to go at it too. So now 3 people are wrestling over the phone, which we do manage to take. My wife quickly goes over the conversations from the scammers and the loan sharks. My wife reads aloud the messages and confirms that it was the same scam story that we thought. At this point, everyone seems calm. Mother-in-law seems resigned to the fact that we now have her phone and are going through it. The rest of the family is bewildered at how obviously fake the lies and images that the scammer sent over to her were, but no one is yelling at her. The scammer is apparently American, head of medicine at some Boston hospital. Of course. Why wouldn't a 40-something head of medicine want my elderly, nearly obese mother-in-law? At one point, my wife sees that my mother-in-law asked the scammer why he didn't go to the embassy for help. The scammer said that there were no embassies from his country where he was being held. We questioned the mother-in-law, but she's not really talking much. Maybe that was like the mother-in-law trying to see if what her family was saying was true. That seems like she's losing at least a little bit of faith. You know?
I mean, maybe it's like, I could see her having questions of like, oh, what about this? What about this? But I feel like the power the scammer has over her is like, even if she asks a question, he's able to like fuse it. So yeah, this is
not
tough.
great. Not great.
Yeah.
Well, finally, she says he's in Germany. Everyone is still calm, though. I show my mother-in-law that there is a U.S. embassy in Germany, a half dozen consulates, and dozens of offices.
Definitely.
She replied that she's going to have to let Kevin know about these options that he didn't know about.
No.
Bro!
That's not.
How does she not know?
That's not the takeaway.
How does she not know?
Just totally, it's like the mental facilities are not there.
She still believes this dude. I show her that the plane tickets they sent to show he had a jet set life didn't exist. These images were so ridiculously fake that anyone could Google and see why. A non-stop ticket from Kazakhstan, Tennessee on UA 134. Everyone is still trying to convince her and stay calm though. My wife scrolls to the loan sharks. Financially, we are mostly where we think we are, except she's managed to pawn the country farmhouse. We didn't think she could because the ex-husband is on the title and he did not agree to that. People are furious and I am tired of holding them back. They verbally lay it on to her. We put down on paper what the debt is and I don't think she flinched. We did when we totaled it. $70,000 for the properties and items worth $350,000.
And think about it, they're in Laos right now, right? So like think about that relative worth. Like that's like
so much money.
Over 400K USD. Like that could be like millions relatively speaking.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. Dude, this sucks.
I'm about to get in the scamming business.
Yeah, dude. John is about to
What's
talk
up,
to your grannies.
Oh, man.
We try for 2 hours to talk sense into her, but she's still fully committed to believing the scammers. There's just one property left, not pawned, the one we're currently in. The one that only has her name, but is actually her ex-husband's childhood house. Everyone leaves frustrated, and my wife and I tell her that she would never see us again. She asks for her phone back. Do not give it to her.
Don't do it.
Our reply wasn't nice. My wife worries her mother is going to commit self-harm, but she doesn't. The next day we meet up with the father-in-law, whom I always thought was a stand-up guy. Everyone thought he would be upset, but he was just disappointed. He goes on to explain that he removed his name from the house title in the capital because he didn't want his children or grandchildren to think he would try to punt them out of it in any way, as his ex-wife had repeatedly said it was something he would do. He was in tears and said he just wanted good things for his family. We agreed to meet up again the next day to start a plan to get the police to arrest mother-in-law for selling the farm property that father-in-law did have his name on the title. Maybe they could get it back. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if you're like, hey, like kind of like pleading insanity.
Yeah. Or like, this is a false deal. Like this, it wasn't her house to pawn.
Yeah, interesting. Because like, dude, and the poor father, and like he was like, I want to keep this for the family, and then she tries to get rid of it. But yeah, maybe there is a chance they could get it back.
Get it back? Yeah. Well, wife goes through the phone and we get an even clearer picture. Turns out these loan shysters weren't nearly as bad as we thought. Even the one that accepted a property as collateral, knowing that father-in-law wasn't involved. There were two main loaners, and each loan to them started typically enough for the two properties, but the mother-in-law started asking to see if they would take a loan for the house in the capital. Both said no, stating they didn't want any of the properties. They just wanted the interest from the loans. They started questioning if she was being scammed, telling her to talk to her family. She kept telling them she was fine. They kept insisting she get her and family involved. And she said her family was why she didn't have anything and needed the loans. We called the loan people. They seem amicable and actually concerned for mother-in-law. One only wanted the principal back. The other seemed willing to accept the principal and a month's interest instead of everything that's accrued. My wife asked me if I remembered the jewelry gifts we got for our wedding. I replied that I didn't until she mentioned it now. Good. Well, then you won't miss them because Granny pawned them away.
Got him.
The next day, my wife plans to pay the loan to get her car back. There's already a buyer. The sale of the car and the jewelry is enough to cover not everything, but at least the 2 farm properties. I guess I shouldn't be annoyed at losing the jewelry. Definitely annoyed at mother-in-law, though. Yeah, duh.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean, annoyed is the understatement of the century.
Yeah, I mean, she's caused all of this to happen.
So much. And I mean, she's pawned like so much money. It's so sad.
Yeah, because it's not just the dollar value alone is insane and would cause anyone to be upset, I think. But I think like the home father-in-law wanted for the grandkids, the jewelry that had the sentimental value, like all of these things have a lot of emotional value and connection that's so painful to lose.
Well, sure enough, midday, we get a text message from the scammer on mother-in-law's phone, which we have asking why he's getting texts from another number claiming to be my mother-in-law. And that is the new number to call. We throw a few curveballs at the scammer, but yep, mother-in-law had a backup phone, which explains why she wasn't wrestling us back for the phone. If only mother-in-law used all of these scamming tactics for the like that she's using on the family for her own self-betterment, she might have been fine.
Like what?
I mean, she's literally hoodwinking this entire family that's just, oh yeah, like I'm not going to talk to them. Oh, here's my phone. Like she has a backup phone. She obviously has enough wits about her to scam the family so she can get scammed by the scammer.
Yeah.
You know, like if only she used those wits to protect herself.
Yeah, like Granny clearly understands some semblance of technology.
Like Heidi says, dementia. I don't think so. Like it seems like she has enough wits about her to hoodwink the family. So I don't think it's dementia. I think she actually is pretty sharp.
Yeah, we're no experts here, but yeah, maybe it's something like not dementia, but something else like in her brain chemistry and mental health.
She's lonely.
Maybe it's like a Killing Eve situation.
Oh, wow.
Break that
The
down.
show Killing Eve, where Sandra Oh, I think she's like hunting down Eve, the killer, and then she falls in love with Eve.
So it's like kind of like Stockholm syndrome a bit, where it's like, oh, I know this person is like, scamming me and doing all this stuff, but I just like, I still crave it. I still, And I think there's something mental going on where Granny's still sharp, obviously. She's sharp enough to like do all this planning and this maneuvering, but does not have her like wits about her to understand that this is like so damaging. This is so bad for her, for the family, and everything else.
It is a bad situation. It's a bad situation. Well, so she's re-talking to the scammers. Yay. 2 hours after this, my sister-in-law puts her phone up to show me and my wife a live scene from the security cameras at the house. So a lot of people in this country still believe in animalism and spirits, etc. And the conversation goes like this. Sister-in-law, she's opening up all the windows in the house. Wife, that nasty witch. Yep, she's got them all opened and she's got some incense now. She's lighting them outside the house and waving them. Oh, F her. I'm so out of her life. What kind of mother does that? Me scratching my head. What's going on? She just wished all the evil in the world to come to you and your wife. Oh, wonderful. Thank you for reading my rant. Well, we're here for another week. Let's see what crazy crap happens now. Hoping my mother-in-law does get arrested. I think it's likely, but maybe not before we leave. If you guys actually read this all the way through and the next part is interesting, I'll put it up. So we might have another update, and it looks like we do.
Oh.
Looks like we do.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that it can just crazy stuff can keep happening because of where Granny's at, which is not a good place.
Oh boy. Well, some of OP's comments. So, commenter, the picture you paint is one of a person who is not mentally well. She needs medical intervention. OP, that is the picture we get as well. I have suggested this to the family before. They declined it. It seems like a good idea to suggest it again. Edit. Recall now why they declined. Mental health treatment is non-existent here. The one place that would take her is for substance rehab, and it's pretty grim. And we got a mini update, March 30th, 2025, the next day.
Oh.
So, commenter, I would not bail her out of her loans with your money. She'll just do it again with the same scammer or a different scammer. I would move on with your life and stay out of hers. And OP response. The deed for the farm that has my father-in-law as well on it will be transferred entirely to my father-in-law.
Okay, that's great.
That's good. Apparently, this can be done without mother-in-law's consent as long as officials agree, and it looks like they will agree. The other farm that is entirely in mother-in-law's name will hopefully be transferred to my wife eventually, as she is the one who actually paid for it, but we need mother-in-law to agree. Seems she won't agree anytime soon. However, we actually get to keep the title from the loaner after the debt is paid, so she won't be able to pawn anything without the title. As for the house in the capital, father-in-law's childhood home, father-in-law, along with the entire family, will be meeting with officials to have the title changed to be only under father-in-law's name. So we're taking a lot of power away from Granny right now. Plan is going to get mother-in-law arrested and put away until she regains her senses. I don't know if she will. Can't believe it's come to that, but I don't see any way to get her to go back to her senses. Apparently, she's throwing garbage all around the house, unplugging laundry if someone is using the machine, just making the lives of her daughters still there miserable. The daughters are still there living with her, right?
Yeah, because remember that, I think that was the house the father-in-law was like, hey, I want this for all the grandkids. Like, I want this for the family. You know what I mean? And she's just like been, pimping it out to get money and now like making their lives miserable.
So messed up. The whole time screaming at whoever is there that soon she will have everything and we will see she's right. I previously told the daughters to go easy on mom, but today I told them to go at it if they want. They are not defenseless women. They've been holding back. She's going to be put away, it seems like, one way or another. And we got another update, April 11th, 2025, 1.5 months later and 2.5 months from the OG post.
Okay, that's a lot can happen.
Yeah. And we're getting up to present day.
Yeah, this is recent.
This update isn't as exciting as the second update, where we were breaking down doors with crowbars and my mother-in-law was putting a hex on us, but that's probably a good thing. I pushed getting her arrested, but apparently, Laos, it's not that simple. You have to go to the village elder, they have to get the village police involved, and then an actual arrest can be made. I'm not sure if it really was this complicated or if the family just didn't have the appetite for it. Of all the things she had pawned, we were interested in resolving 4 items that were pawned or suspected to be. My wife's car, 2 of the farm plots, and the house in the capital. We paid $3,000 to get the car back, which included the loan and the interest. We then sold the car. My wife also sold the wedding jewelry we received many years ago. This, together with the proceeds of the car, was enough for us to pay back the loan and interest for the 2 farm plots. The papers were all signed in front of the village officials. We had no idea where the deed to the house in the capital was. Turns out the loan people had the deed all along. My mother-in-law was so desperate for money that she offered to take $5,000 for a house worth $500,000. I'm hoping that these loan people are nice enough to not to give that back.
I mean, I wouldn't have the faith that, a super loan sharkster would do that, but I'm praying.
The loaner declined, but held on to the deed, which was given back to us. Okay, that's kind of smart. The loaner's like, hey, or basically, I'm not going to give you back this loan until I see someone with higher mental faculties.
Right. Because then it's like maybe the government just repossesses it or whatever, and they're out whatever cash they spent.
The laws in Laos don't make any sense to me, and I'm not sure how we're able to do the things we did after. The first farm plot is 6 acres and co-owned by my mother-in-law and ex-husband. Mother-in-law managed to pawn the property without her ex-husband knowing, so now we're going by official judgment from their divorce. 1.5 acres will be given to mother-in-law, but the title will be given to one of her daughters to hold. The second farm plot is 5 acres. It was 100% in my mother-in-law's name, but was paid for by my wife years ago. Title will now be transferred to my wife. As for the house in the capital, it's 100% in my mother-in-law's name, even though it was my father-in-law's childhood home. This was because she had repeatedly accused him of, in the future, selling the house and leaving the grandkids with no place to go. Funny how it was actually the opposite. We're working on putting father-in-law back on the title while one of my wife's sisters holds on to the title. My wife used to give her mother a $500 to $600 monthly stipend, but stopped a few months ago. She's told her sisters that she will still help pay for utilities and putting groceries in her mother's fridge. Wife's niece and nephews also use the house. We have to pay utilities directly now, as the lights were just turned off recently because mother-in-law didn't pay utilities for 4 months. She won't see her son again either, and she has numerous photos of him in her house. We knew she had promised the scammers to get him money in April, so we tried to get ahead of that. She traveled to Thailand to ask some relatives for money, but we told them ahead of time not to give any money.
Smart. Yeah.
Put this woman on a do not give money list.
We need a list. We need a list.
In the end, she begged them for bags of rice to take home, which they gave. She also recently went to visit her son to ask him for money. He wasn't home, so she asked for $5 from her daughter-in-law's mother. $5. She's literally been selling like like $500,000 at least, maybe $1 million worth of stuff.
And now she needs $5. Come on.
She's going to several friends asking for financial help, telling them that her kids abandoned her. So now we will have to call those people and tell them that mother-in-law has been scammed, but we still put food in the fridge. Mother-in-law believes the scammers. She wants to desperately believe she did not give the scammers our final tally of $70,000. She really wants to believe her lover is real. She has nothing left to pawn since we have all the documents. I can only hope that within 6 months, the scammers will stop talking to her once they realize she has nothing left, and maybe she will come to her senses. By the way, you should come to your senses by listening to full stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update. But let's discuss John.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness, what a saga.
What a roller coaster we've been on, my friend.
Yeah, geez Louise trapeze. I am happy that it seems like we're on the other side.
Yes, they were able to get back a shocking amount of
Shocking
stuff.
amount.
Probably very unusual and lucky.
Yeah, exactly. And luckily, some of these loan sharks were less sharky than we may have thought in the beginning.
Yeah.
But my goodness.
Why did they ever like contact the scammers?
They had them on the phone, or one of the other phones, I think.
Yeah, and the house that was like $5K for $500K, I think they were like directly involved somehow.
Yeah.
So yes, they were really able to finesse in multiple things. So like OP said, he's like, I don't know how this really works, but I'm were able to get all this stuff. So,
yeah. But we got a little bit more of this story.
Here we go.
It's been exhausting, but I'm glad we were able to get all 3 property titles back, so at least mother-in-law and niece and nephews don't end up on the street. I was born in Laos too, but left when I was 1 year old, but I get the culture. We had planned a 5-week trip, but spent almost 4 weeks cleaning up this scam mess. The whole point of the trip prior to realizing my mother-in-law was being scammed was to do a baby blessing ceremony to be attended by hundreds of people. It's a very wholesome, positive event, something my wife has been looking forward to for a year. We didn't do it because there was so much bad energy. It wasn't until we flew to Bangkok for a few days that we felt we were on vacation. My wife used to fly back to Laos once a year, sometimes twice. She's made it very clear she won't be going back for a while. And that is where that story ends.
Wow.
Hey, as terrible as this saga was, at least we kind of got into a little bit better of a place.
Yeah, potentially a lot better with getting everything back and all the stuff and
cutting the mother-in-law off from having more funds to give to these scammers.
Yeah, just give her groceries and utilities. That's it.
Miss Woozy said they got so lucky with the loan people. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But that's not where this episode ends.
Oh, no,
we got
it's
another
not.
story for you.
Yeah, we're not scamming you out of that. Let's get started. All right, boys and girls, we got a next story.
My mother-in-law has been controlling our lives for so long. I can't take it anymore.
I don't want to do this anymore, Grandpa.
That's too dang bad. This will be a lot. So bear with me, and thank you to anyone who reads this. Possible trigger warning, mentions of family friends, self-harm. Mother-in-law is a super controlling, manipulative, and self-absorbed person, especially when she doesn't get her way.
Hooray.
Here is a snapshot of a few issues we've had leading up to this most recent one. By the way, this comes from user Ty Accomplished 1505. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, when husband graduated from college, he was offered a job in another state. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law cornered me at one point and accused me of taking their son and brother away from them. After we moved, we eloped because I needed to be able to be on his health benefits due to some medical things I had going on. We already have a small wedding planned for that next year at his parents' house. Mother-in-law did not like the fact that we got married and told husband that I was not allowed to change my last name or tell anyone that we were married. Okay. I flew back a few months before the wedding to finish getting everything settled. Husband and I had everything planned out just as we wanted. When we flew back for the wedding, mother-in-law literally changed everything about the wedding. We wanted a small, intimate wedding, country theme with hay bales and shepherd hooks, just very low-key. We wanted to do a run-through of the day, but she refused to do that. She refused to let my mom come and help. My little brother was the ring bearer, and she kept making comments about how he was the only thing that would not be perfect about the wedding. You just remove her. You just remove her from her duties. Stop listening to her. Do not give her permission to change everything about your wedding. Husband and her ended up getting into a huge fight once we found out that she had changed everything. We found out that she talks trash about me behind my back to everyone. We ended up moving back home, and I got pregnant. First thing mother-in-law said to us was to let her know what her boundaries are. Of course, anytime we have done that, it's caused problems. My in-laws are very wealthy. They went in with some family friends and bought a large amount of property and are building a subdivision. The family friends unfortunately lost their daughter 7 years ago to self-harm, so are naming their part of the subdivision after her. Mother-in-law decided to name their part of the subdivision after, what is L.O.?
Lost
Late
Owens.
L.O.?
Luke Olson.
Low order.
Law and order.
Decided to name their part of the subdivision after L.O. without our permission. Little one?
Little oyster.
Do they have a kid? Is that little one?
Lows?
Loved one?
Loved one.
I don't know. It's little one. Amanda Perillo. Yeah.
Little one.
I got there. I got
you.
there all by myself.
Little brother bear.
I got there all by myself. After husband and I discussed this, we decided it made us uncomfortable, especially since the other part was being named as memorial for a young girl who committed self-harm. Husband called mother-in-law to let her know, and she got all pissed off and hung up on him. Fast forward to when the little one was born a few days before Thanksgiving, mother-in-law was kind enough to watch our dogs for us.
All right.
Even though I wanted a week to adjust being home before having people over, we allowed mother-in-law to come over on Thanksgiving to bring the dogs back. Over the next month, she came over twice a week. Mother-in-law would bring food to us, which was super nice of her. I told husband that it was getting to be too much for me having her over so much. I wanted time to myself to figure out being a new mom and establish a routine. She would also come over and try to tell us how to parent. There was a day where both our families came over. My family had already arranged to be over that day, but then his parents stopped by as well. It was too much for the baby to be passed around all day, and she was really overstimulated. After that, we set a boundary that we were limiting the number of people that came over in a day.
Nice.
What would you put your limit at
I was feeling this way.
if you had a little baby, little tiny Riley?
Little RJ, Riley Jr. I don't know, whatever felt right. I don't know, maybe like 3 people, 3 couples, 6.
6 people?
Yeah.
No one gets to see my
3 families.
I'm keeping my child sealed away until it's perfect. Fast forward to Christmas. My mom, niece, and I had made plans a week before to do some baking on Christmas Eve. The day before, mother-in-law called me and said she was going to be coming over tomorrow to see the baby and bring gifts and baked goods. I started to tell her that my mom was going to be over, and she interrupted me and said, "Oh, sir, if your mom is over, I'm not welcome."
Ooh.
I said, "That's not what I said," and proceeded to tell her what we'd talked to the doctor about and some of the health concerns we were trying to figure out with the baby. She then said, "Fine, I'll just call my son. Bye," and hung up on me. She then texted her son, my husband. Their exchange is below to give a clear picture. I took out names for privacy and just put name. A few things to clarify. His parents live an hour from us, but his brother lives across the street and has only seen the baby once when she was a week old.
Okay.
We've asked 2 things of everyone. 1, no social media pictures, and 2, let us know ahead of time if you want to see the baby.
Okay, these seem reasonable. These seem fair.
Pretty reasonable.
I would like to see the baby.
I would like to see the baby. When this happened, my family had only seen the baby once. Mother-in-law had been over 8 times.
Dude, she drove, like, that is 16 hours. Within how long?
Too long.
16 hours?
She lives an hour away. She came and saw it 8 times. That's 16 hours of driving.
Yeah, but like separated, like not all at once.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. How long? Is this 2-week gap? Is this a week gap? Month?
I think that's the entire time the baby's been alive.
Well, how long?
Which at this point is like a month.
2 months after it was born.
Well, it was born right before Thanksgiving, and this is coming up on Christmas. Mother-in-law, good morning, son. I was going to run down early in the morning and drop off a Christmas gift for you and some baked goods. I was told I cannot do that because Name is going to be at your house baking pies with Name. So I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and tell you I love you, and I guess I'll see you some other time. Husband, good morning. Yeah, we're limiting visits to 1 person and family per day. Last week turned into a nightmare for a couple of days with Name when a bunch of people came over in one day. You guys are more than welcome to come down on Sunday or Monday. Just let us know so we can plan to limit it to just you guys that day. Merry Christmas, and I love you too.
Aw.
Mother-in-law, this is just unbelievable to me.
Girl.
Who are you? Oscar the Grouch? Living in a trash can of your own design?
Dude.
This is just unbelievable to me. We already knew we could not see you or her for Christmas, and nobody communicated to us that there is a new set of rules that now require us to schedule our visits independent of everyone else. We'll never get to see her because Name's family, who have the advantage of living locally and not working, will always be conveniently there. To be told that I can't stop by to drop off Christmas presents on the morning of Christmas Eve. On the morning of Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve morning?
just say Christmas Eve, and see the baby for a few minutes after driving 130 miles round trip just blows me away.
But that's why you text ahead of time. Why you text people, you're like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, you just make plans.
Yeah.
How many times has she been over? She can't compromise and coordinate her schedule with me. My 30-minute visit is not what's harmful to the baby. It's much bigger than that. And I'm not stupid. The message being sent is loud and clear and deeply hurtful. We have other obligations on Sunday and we work on oh my, does this woman ever stop yapping?
I can relate.
So... Oh, brother. I feel like I got away with mine. I don't know if you're going to get away with yours. We have other obligations on Sunday and we work on Monday. So the alternative times you gave me will not work. As far as the baby's gifts, it's just some first Christmas things like a memorabilia, infant blanket, and burping bibs, and blah, 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 blah. So meeting after Christmas defeats the purpose and takes away the fun. I don't know. A name. I wasn't raised this way. You weren't raised this way. And we've certainly brought several babies into our families. In fact, I don't personally know of anyone who has experienced such one-sided arm's length control that's being imposed on us. Oh my God.
Bro.
Go write the Magna Carta or whatever. This is your 4 paragraphs in.
Goodness gracious.
He's just saying, come next week.
Yeah.
The baby's going to get overstimulated. You wench.
Just a little heads up. And if you were so chill and like actually a good mother-in-law, they probably wouldn't care. But you bring this heavy weight with you every time you visit, and they wanna make sure the weather is nice for the baby for the first couple of months it's alive.
I feel defeated, hurt, and angry. I seriously don't understand. I digress. You've been digressing the whole time, lady. Moving forward, we will quietly wait for an invitation to see you and our granddaughter and see if our schedules can coordinate with the proposed time slot allotted to us. This is not our choice or what we want.
OP.
So please, it's not. So please make sure we are not wrongfully accused of not wanting to see the baby or being involved in her life. We are doing our best to adapt without taking it personally. And right now, that's not working so well. If my eyes could roll into the back of my head, I'd do it right now.
Do it.
I can't.
Try.
They can't. Okay. Husband, it is reasonable to ask if someone has plans on a certain day before visiting and to plan for something more than the day before, just like you have plans on Sunday and just like a sensible client would ask you to show a house. This isn't a new rule. It's common courtesy. I'm going to stop you right there on insinuating that you're being treated differently. OP's family is being held to the same expectation, and I've had to have the same conversation that she had with you with them, but they had a drastically different response. You were the first to see her, and you have seen her more than anyone else. So take a step back and quit making assumptions. The decision to limit visitors to one person or family a day was my decision, and I'm not asking for permission or approval of my parenting. There's a fine line that's being tiptoed in your message, implying that it's OP's fault. It's not. I'm home every Friday and would have told you the same thing she did if you had called me yesterday, because everybody is being held to the same expectations of planning more than a day ahead. The message is to have people plan their visits so that when they are here, it's just them and the baby, and to minimize exposure to multiple people in a short time frame per the doctor's direction. I'm sorry you feel this way, but I'm not going to enable outbursts like this when all of it could have been solved with a simple conversation last week. I'm not going to dictate the level of involvement people have in the baby's life by coordinating invitations. If you want to see her, reach out to me more than a day ahead to set up a time to come by and respect other people's time with her.
So imagine you just said all that to a wall.
Yeah, I imagine that's about as effective as that's going to be. But we have a response right here. Noted.
Okay, if it was noted, you would make more than just one word. You would bullet point like what they said. Okay, sorry.
I wasn't coming down to hang out or interrupt pre-scheduled plans. I was simply dropping off Christmas presents and goodies and leaving. Yeah, freaking. Has that ever happened in the history of humanity where someone brings Christmas gifts for the newborn that's like the mother-in-law and is like, all right, I'm going to leave now? Yeah, right. You can say that. It's real convenient.
Actually, it did happen.
No.
For one baby.
No.
And it was 3 guys.
What?
Yeah. So this one.
They definitely hung out. They definitely hung out. You know they hung out.
So there was this one baby.
They had the frankincense and the myrrh.
Yeah.
And then they had the one more thing. What was it?
Frankincense, myrrh, gold.
Gold?
I think.
They gave Jesus the bling?
Don't quote me on that. Apparently he was like 2 when that happened. He wasn't a newborn. He was like 2 years old.
Really?
Yeah, that's a theory.
Seems pretty fishy. I could not stay, nor did I ask to stay. I was doing a drop-off. That's it. A drop-off. I wanted to be gone from GJ by 9 a.m. The heck is GJ? Great
Good.
Jolly.
Good jolly.
I don't know. GJ was mentioned earlier.
Jolly
Great
bee.
Jakes.
I was right. It was gold. Yeah, I was right. You got the bling.
Three Kings.
Anyways,
Day.
back to the story. We're getting back on track.
But we're trying to figure out what's good J.
We don't know what GJ is, so we're gonna pretend like we know.
Great junipers. I wanted to be gone from GJ by 9 a.m., which most likely was before name arrived or the pie baking began. And I would say what that name was supposed to be, but I honestly cannot tell because there's so many different people with their names removed. My intent wasn't to intrude on their mother-daughter time. I only wanted to take a mere few minutes to give you your gifts and goodies, get a hug from my son, sneak a peek at the baby, and get on the road. My call was a courtesy call that I was going to be in town early and wanted to drop off presents and leave. It wasn't a last-minute call to expect everyone to change their plans, and it wasn't a last-minute call to hang out. It would have been easier if I was told to leave the presents and goodies outside your door than to be told I wasn't allowed at your home to drop off presents. No matter how you put it, that's just effed up. You've made your point. Your house, your rules, regardless of how ever-changing they are. I promise you I won't put myself in this hurtful situation again. It would be nice, though, if you revisited what harm it would have been for me to drop off the presents early this morning while I was swinging through town on other business, mind you, without any intention of staying. Quick in, quick out to leave the presents. How was that disrespectful? And for the record, God, we're still adding to the record? Still?
This
Records are made
typist-
to be broken. Records are made to be broken.
She's breaking a record.
Dude,
I
this
know.
typist's like hands have like blisters on them.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Good stuff.
And for the record, feel free to visit our home any time of day, any day of the week, unannounced or scheduled, as you will always be welcome with love and open arms. Yeah, shut up, lady, because you don't have a newborn baby.
Ooh, you had one, then it got older and had a newborn.
Stop trying to throw it out. Like, I would never do this to you.
GJ is Grand Junction. That's
Dude,
what.
I love the Grand Junction.
Grand Junction? Oh,
Yep.
so they're in Colorado?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dang.
It's a bowling place.
Doxed. After this, they had texted and arranged to come see the baby a few weeks later. During this time, husband and his mom had spoken a few times. Husband got the vid and she flipped again because he didn't tell her he had it. She then sent me this. Somebody told me that you have the vid. I'm so sorry to hear that, and I will pray for your healing. I have it too, and I'm feeling pretty rough. It's times like these that make us remember the brevity of life. I personally lost 4 friends in the past 3 months who, in a matter of hours, ended up in the hospital on a ventilator and passed away a few days later. Unbelievable and shocking.
Dang.
One of our friends is still in Denver on life support with failed kidneys. He was a healthy athlete who sadly caught the vid. My point is, we're not promised tomorrow,
So let me see your kid.
so we shouldn't live like it and leave important things unsaid. I don't want to make you any more angry than you already are or retreat further than you already have, but if tomorrow doesn't come for me, then at least I did not leave this unsaid. It feels like you've cut me out of your life. Now, mind you, this is just 2 weeks later. This is not 2 years later. This is not 10 years later. This is 14 days in the future.
But in baby years,
That's
it's like,
eternity.
I don't know.
dude, seeing a 2-week-old go to a 2-month-old,
8 times.
you've missed so much.
8 times.
My brother is taller than my mother,
It's not her kid.
and he's 12. That's like, I missed like 10 years of his life. I missed probably
What,
2, but
point guard?
he's probably gonna be center.
Really?
I'm
He's
gonna be point guard. I'm gonna be the
he's like
shortest in the family.
that big.
Yeah.
It feels like you cut me out of your life and OP's life, or no, probably the baby's life, which has pretty much destroyed me. But you knew it would. That's no secret. I'm a good mom. I've always been a good mom, and I deeply, unconditionally love you. I still don't understand how or why you are treating me this way. Husband says, I will be praying for your healing too.
All right.
It's definitely a scary thing, but thankfully the data on the new strain is promising. It's not as life-threatening. Of course I'm angry and hurt. I set a boundary with an immediate compromise for another day and was met with backlash about my choice and accusations based on assumptions towards OP and her family, which weren't true. I made my point and was met with more questioning of my decisions, but I'm not going to argue and justify my parenting decisions to anyone, nor am I going to allow anyone to talk to me like that.
Let's go.
It just got worse from there when who was in the hospital? Who? It just
I'm
says
gonna
name.
say OP. I'm gonna say OP.
It just got worse from there when OP was in the hospital. I was keeping everyone in the loop as I received more information, and then you sent a message to our group asking if I received your voicemail, which painted me to look like a horrible person. I've not cut you out, but I'm definitely distant because I'm sick of the manipulation when you don't get your way. You are a great mom, but you need to step back and respect the boundaries I'm setting and allow me to be a parent. I do think about you and miss you and love you. I often think about how all of this could have been avoided.
Dude, this guy, this is textbook how to respond to anyone. I bet this guy's emails he has no issues at work.
Just
this is so
grade
clear
A.
communication. Grade A.
Grade E.
A number
for
one sauce
excellent.
right there.
A for absolutely stunning. Mother-in-law, thank you for taking the time time to give me a snapshot of how you see things. Why do I feel like that's so condescending?
It's like, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
It's like a version of that.
Thanks for your snapshot of your like emotional window. Okay. I appreciate the fact you communicated in a candid and brutally blunt manner. I'd like permission to share my side in the same blunt and candid manner. Let me know when you are ready to move forward. See, and then I would never speak to you again because I'm just like, you're so difficult. I don't care.
You're just upset someone told you no.
Truly, all of this, all of these paragraphs have just been come from one person being like, no, come next week. It's crazy. Husband replies, all this revolves around me holding everyone accountable to the same boundaries with the baby, but I'm not going to put it up for discussion. Enough damage has been done, and that'll just make it worse. During all this, they have not tried to see the baby and blew off the one time that they had arranged to see her. Mother-in-law has turned husband's whole family against him. Husband's aunt and uncle were in town a few weeks ago, and no one told him. He hasn't seen them in 6 years. They're also going to events as a family without him and posting it all over social media. What a bunch of winners they are. It's now been 12 weeks since this started and the last time they have seen her. Things are just getting worse. Father-in-law came down at one point to try to work things out and ended up just placing blame on husband and telling him he needed to call mother-in-law and work things out since mother-in-law won't. Husband has tried to open the door a few times to move forward, but all mother-in-law cares about is telling her side of the story and trying to control how we parent our child. I know she is completely gaslighting us and making us second guess. All of this started because we had plans one day when she wanted to come over. We do have an update here.
Please go low contact with this lady.
Yeah, she's
not getting the point.
She isn't, and she's not respecting any of your boundaries.
Yeah, she's just feeling like, well, that was mean. Can I be mean back? And it's like, I'm not even being mean. I'm just telling you what happened.
It just drains me when I have to deal with people like this.
Update. We had not heard from his mom since this until tonight. Dear husband's aunt and uncle are coming into town from out of state in a few weeks. His aunt texted him the other day to let him know, so we were thinking we could meet them for breakfast and they could meet my baby. Tonight, husband receives a group text from his mom letting him and his brothers know that they are having lunch one of the days at their house, which is an hour and a half away from where we live. This is the first time husband has received any communication since January 27th. His mother has caused problems on numerous occasions over the past 7 years we have been together. This most recent situation was my tipping point, and I've had enough. I wouldn't let anyone else treat me the way I've allowed his family to treat me. I also don't want my daughter exposed to that. His family is all super passive aggressive, and I know they will make sideways comments if I go. Anytime we have been at their house, they are all talking crap about someone. That's just the type of people they are. They are just rude and mean. His mother will also try to play the victim in this whole situation, like she's constantly done in all of the text messages, She has told everyone that we will cut her out and are keeping my baby from her, which is not true. We had plans back in February for them to see her, and they blew it off. We're not going to reach out and beg people to be in my baby's life. If they want to see her, they can reach out. If they cared about her at all, or if she were a priority to them, they would be involved in her life. It is pretty simple. All we ask is that they give us a heads up so we can plan to limit the number of people the baby is around at one time and to make sure we don't have any other plans. As mentioned in my other post, his brother lives across the street from us and hasn't seen her since she was a week old. Even though his parents live an hour and a half away, they have come to town on several different occasions that we know of and haven't tried to see her. The reason we know that is because they posted pictures on Facebook. What they want is for husband to apologize to his mom, even though we did nothing wrong. Unless we bow to her and let her control our lives, there will always be problems, especially when she doesn't get her way. All we have asked for is an apology from her so we can move forward, but all she cares about is being right.
Wonder why.
Yeah, because she's an dude. Oh my God.
I wonder if there's
she feels like she's been slighted. Now she needs justice. When really all she should care about is that you're her family and you have a new baby and she should just respect your boundaries as parents. She can't because she's an
It's crazy.
I do not want to go and sit in a house where it's been made perfectly clear how they really feel about me and my family. I also don't want my 4-month-old passed around between at least 10 different people, most of whom she has never met. Well, you know, when you're 4 months old, you haven't met most people. Sorry, it was a joke. I digress. The few that she has met, don't give me your fake stand-up comedy laugh, Riley. Get out of here.
Oh,
No, that wasn't real. Was it?
We'll never
I'll never know. You're so good at that.
I know. I'm a good actor.
He's
I
a
actually
good
should get
laugher.
into acting
He's a
pretty
good
soon.
laugher. My baby gets super overstimulated really easily. She's also in that stranger danger phase where she starts crying around people she doesn't know. His mom is super domineering, and I know the instant I walk in the door, she will take my baby from me. I also know that if I say something, I will be attacked. His mother has made these past 4 months absolutely miserable. It's not only worn on me, but on husband as well. His whole family has turned against him and has wanted nothing to do with us until now. And it's only so she can put on a show for her sister. I'm super uncomfortable going to his parents' house with my baby, and the thought of going is causing me a ton of anxiety and giving me panic attacks. I've struggled a bit with postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety since having my baby 4 months ago, and this whole situation has not helped. I, of course, want to see husband's aunt and uncle and want them to meet my baby, but I feel like the best situation to do this is to meet them for breakfast. Am I in the wrong for not wanting to go? I feel like it's a lose-lose situation. Update number 2. Since last April, here is the update. I went against my better judgment and went to husband's parents' house last April to see his aunt and uncle who were in town, and it went as expected. I took the advice I got from a lot of you and wore my baby, who was 4 months old at that point.
What?
Maybe like it's like you wore them like it was like in a baby, like a papoose of some kind of baby satchel,
Maybe what they did.
or like they wore them out so
Tired
that they'd
them
be
out?
like napping.
Yeah, maybe that
Dude,
one.
this is a really bad time to have a typo, OP.
I'm gonna me personally, I like that she's wearing the baby so that no one can take the baby away because it's attached.
I can't
to
even
her.
imagine that. I don't want to.
Yeah, like a harness. You've never seen people walking around with a baby on them?
Oh, dude, my dad loved doing that with my little brothers.
Yeah.
And he got so mad whenever they were like too big to do that.
Yeah.
Because he's like a giant. Okay.
Dude,
you
your
guys,
dad
you
should've
guys
just
ever
got more yoked.
He really
I don't know.
did. You guys ever play Plants vs. Zombies? You know that
No.
one that's like
It's a
super
baby
big?
swing. Yeah, baby Bjorn. Yeah.
It's super big and he has a baby on the back of him. That's what my dad looked like. He was like a big boss like zombie with a little guy on top throwing stuff.
And he's like,
Yep. That was my dad.
During the actual visit, things were awkward and uncomfortable, but not horrible. I did let my mother-in-law and father-in-law both hold my baby when we were alone. I was really pressured into it by husband's aunt, but whatever, I allowed it. Before we left, they asked if they could get some pictures. Husband said sure, but I was going to still wear my baby and not let everyone pass her around. Okay, so it was my theory. After we went home is when things got ridiculous. Found out from my brother-in-law that my mother-in-law was telling everyone that I didn't let her hold my baby, which was a lie. They also cut me out of the pictures they took. Fast forward, we didn't talk to his parents again until September. There was still attempts on mother-in-law's part. She kept sending stuff in the mail and texting husband. He kept telling her that we would move forward once we received an apology. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Come September, brother-in-law reached out and said he wanted to come over to talk with us about the whole situation, and he did. All he was doing was being her flying monkey. He came with all the texts printed out between dear husband and mother-in-law, and husband and father-in-law, and me and both of them, which wasn't many since I wasn't having much contact. He also came with screenshots of my Facebook. Mother-in-law had deleted husband, myself, and my entire family from Facebook. I just had to pause really quickly to just again, if someone is this difficult, just don't bother. I don't care if they're your mother-in-law, and you shouldn't either. This is a person who is going to do nothing but just drag on you.
I don't know my thought process. They are dragon. This is an energy vampire. Family's family. It's hard to deal with certain family members.
It's these
But like
this one is the hardest, seems like.
yeah.
Final boss.
Dude,
Final
if it's
boss.
me, I'm like, yeah, no talkie until apology.
Yeah.
And then we'll see.
Yeah. It's tough. It's a tough situation. I hopefully will never be in this. Hopefully.
Shortly after she blocked my whole family, I did the same thing to the rest of my in-laws because it was hurtful seeing all the posts they were making. Brother-in-law threw a fit and claimed that I restricted them all from Facebook. When I told him no, I actually deleted you all, he kept calling me a liar until I showed him my Facebook. I don't understand why it was okay for mother-in-law to do it, but I was out of line when I did it. Well, because mother-in-law can't do anything wrong. Mother-in-law did apologize for not being there for us and not being a part of the baby's life for the past 11 months. He said he didn't know how to handle the situation. Whatever. At one point, he told husband that he was acting just like his biological father, who was an abusive and violent man, which really hurt my husband.
Oh, had
Which,
that happen to a family
shut
member.
up, brother-in-law. What are you doing? Long story short, we just told brother-in-law that all we wanted was an apology. He said mother-in-law didn't even know what she needed to apologize for, which we said, yeah, that's a problem. And first of all, that's probably just a lie.
Yep.
She knows
All right.
exactly what she would need to apologize for.
Dakota,
She's not going to do it.
I'm on your side now. I am off this boat. We are putting the anchor down. We're done. I'm swimming away.
Yeah. Nothing is left to be said until we receive an apology. A few hours after brother-in-law left, husband and I got a group text from mother-in-law saying, after talking to brother-in-law, I now know what I'm supposed to apologize for. It was total BS. After that, husband texted back and set up a time for us to go to their house and talk everything through. After a lot of thought, I decided not to go, and husband went by himself. He was there for about 5 hours. From what he said, his mom was super apologetic and was crying, just repeatedly saying how sorry she was. There were a few things he mentioned that she said that were red flags to me, and I instantly had this gut feeling that he was just manipulated, such as still shifting the blame to me, and boy was I right, unfortunately. Yeah, because all those are just fake tears, gaslighting and manipulating my child.
Yep.
Your mom is so sorry, I didn't mean it.
Yeah, I would be having a conversation with hubby pretty soon. Where's the line?
Yeah.
This is a line. I don't know what their home life is like. Maybe dear husband is handling this very well. I would be asking, where's the line with this all? I don't want this to be the heavy vibes to be seeming through underneath the door cracks of our home. We got to get it out.
Yes, please. I agreed to let mother-in-law and father-in-law come to our house during the baby's nap, so the four of us could talk a few weeks after that. I spent time writing up what I wanted to say so I could cover everything I needed to. As typical of anytime I brought up something she did or said, she deflected, played victim, and shifted the blame back onto me. She was rude, mean, and aggressive towards me. And really quick pause, because not every person with narcissistic personality disorder is like a crazy toxic monster. It's just like a behavioral pattern that can manifest those kind of behaviors. I just wanted to say before anyone thinks I'm just like a hater of all people who are. It's not the case. It's actually really misunderstood in a lot of ways. The silver lining was that husband was there to witness all of it. At the end of the talk, I threw my hands up and she said she wasn't going to apologize when she didn't do anything wrong. There it is. There it is. She didn't do anything wrong. My father-in-law spoke up and said, we can agree to disagree. And we decided to try to take a step forward and start light communication with them again. The people pleaser in me will be the end of me. This conversation happened in October and I left not feeling any real resolve, but again hoped things would at least be civil for the baby and husband. It wasn't even 3 weeks later when the BS started up again. Mother-in-law started using brother-in-law even more as her flying monkey, and he was calling quite a bit, trying to manipulate and guilt trip my husband. Mother-in-law's behaviors did change, but they became more passive-aggressive and happened behind the scenes more often. When it came to them seeing the baby, since Halloween of 2022, they have seen her 4 times, all of which I initiated and invited them to. A trunk or treat a few days before Christmas, swimming at the end of January, and an Easter egg drop in April. They never want anything to do with her unless it's convenient for them, or they can use the baby to make themselves look good. Mother-in-law is one of those social media grandmas. They have asked a few times in between to see her, but it was always for events that were not appropriate for a child, things that we weren't comfortable with, or last-minute asks. For example, they asked us to bring the baby to a hunting banquet so they could show her off.
What?
Okay, now I know where you live, and I have seen this happen before. This whole situation.
You want to give us
before.
like a little?
They're definitely from Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia, or Kentucky.
What is a hunting banquet?
Hunting banquet. I'm just gonna put it out there. Never heard of it, but it's probably like where all these guys get together and they're like, hey, we're gonna auction off some, pew-pews and some like hunting stands and some feed and bait.
Okay.
And it's like, hey, this is like what that looks like. I'm not sure how high tech this is, or like if it's just more than deer and coyotes and stuff. If it's like lions and stuff, like, ugh. But if it's like
exotic hunting is so
wag. I don't like that. But if it's
so
like,
wag. The only time you should hunt a lion is if it's hunting you,
it's self-defense.
and you have no other choice.
But that's my thought.
They wanted to show her off, or they called us a few hours before asking to come over, even though we've told them before we need more notice than that. There's also been some passive-aggressive behavior towards me. When we went swimming, I invited them and they just watched. She started asking me about it, how often we go, and if dear husband comes. Husband told her that he doesn't go and that it's something baby and I do together when he's working. Then after swimming, she made this huge deal about how she brought me a pool pass. I thought that was super nice of her because I know they are pricey, but the next time I went and tried to use it, I wasn't allowed to because she put it in husband's name. In my opinion, that was deliberate. The final straw for me was the egg drop on top of mother-in-law and father-in-law. Husband's grandma, grandpa, aunt, and uncle who live out of town came. That was fine, but we knew mother-in-law had been talking poorly about me beforehand because husband's aunt attacked me verbally at the egg drop in front of my baby, mother-in-law, and grandmother-in-law about things she wouldn't have known unless mother-in-law had said said something. Right, because of course she's gossiping and spreading BS all around.
Don't you hate it when your parents drop some hot gossip at you just for some clout at family dinner?
Where is the husband?
Yep.
Where is the husband right now? He should be right up on her. Of course, mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law didn't step in or say anything while she was verbally attacking me. We had been invited to mother-in-law's house on Easter Day, but chose not to go based on past experiences. It's also hard with baby's nap schedule, and they live an hour and a half away. However, dear husband told mother-in-law we weren't coming because he needed a day to relax since he's working so much and going to school. That's why I invited them to the egg drop. Anyway, husband's aunt starts an argument with me in the middle of the egg drop about how I am letting my baby control me and that I should be controlling her and how rules are meant to be broken all over the fact that my baby takes a nap.
You should not be on your baby's schedule. You should not let your baby tell you when it's ready to eat. Don't let your baby make you leave the room just because you got to change it. Be in control of your baby.
Let me mention, she was 16 months old at this time. Then she starts in on me about how I'm to blame for us not attending Easter the next day. Husband said that he heard my mom voice and realized something was going on, so he stepped in and shut it down. On top of that, I was once again cropped out of the Easter pictures with my baby. It was at that point that I decided to go no contact. I've been so stressed out that I've been getting sick, having headaches, and losing a lot of weight. I, of course, let husband know that I didn't expect him to go no contact as well, but I needed him to support my decision. Well, today, he went no contact. You can see his post here.
Oh,
I am so proud of him. He is struggling with this decision as to be expected, but we both finally took the step and are putting ourselves first. That is a hard thing to do as a people pleaser. And here is the husband's post, everybody.
Oh.
Here's the husband's post.
Dang. I would like to hear from this guy. Seems like I would like to work with this guy.
What I want to know is why anyone was given a chance to even go at OP when they know going in, they're essentially going into enemy territory. Like, why was the husband and the wife not the unit that they should have been? He should have been running defense that whole time, you know?
It's the chronic PP, bro. You got chronic PP.
You know, he's got CPP.
You got CPP. Chronic people pleasing. If you have it, please call our number.
1-800-CPP. Okay, so here's the husband's post. Unfortunately, things have not gotten better since that post, and I just sent the email below and blocked my mom on everything. I'm just looking for some reassurance from you all with it being such a major decision. This no contact is particularly hard because I know it ultimately means no contact with my entire side of the family. And by the way, you don't have to go no contact with this side of the family. All you gotta do is go to your favorite podcasting app, be it iHeartRadio or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and search the name of our show, OK Storytime. And there you can listen to 50 days, 1,200 hours worth of stories.
Basically, until your ears fall off.
And here's the email from husband.
Oh boy.
Dear Mom, I am writing to you today to talk about our relationship. It has been a long and difficult journey, but I have come to a decision that I feel is necessary for myself and my family. We have decided to go no contact with you for now. This decision isn't a knee reaction to one big event, but is a very difficult one that has been carefully considered after a lot of small actions that have slowly chipped away until this finally struck core. I want to emphasize that this decision was not made lightly, and it was not meant to hurt you or punish you in any way. Rather, it is a decision that we have made to protect ourselves from further emotional pain and distress. Over the years, I have struggled to maintain a relationship with you due to the hurtful and damaging behaviors that have repeatedly surfaced. I've tried to communicate my concerns to you, but unfortunately, it seems that my words have fallen on deaf ears. As a result, I have come to the realization that I need to prioritize my own mental health and the well-being of my family. I hope you can understand that this decision is necessary for our own healing and growth. I want to express my gratitude for the positive experiences and support you have provided me with in the past. I genuinely appreciate those moments. However, for the sake of our own well-being and personal growth, we have decided to take some time apart. I hope that in time, we can find a way to rebuild our relationship on healthier terms. Sincerely, OP. And that,
my man,
is the end. And honestly, I can't think of a better way to put that. That was a
my
perfect
dude.
email.
That's my dude right there.
You correctly gassed up his email skills. That was flawlessly executed.
My mother-in-law demanded a paternity test. I gave her a legal wake-up.
Oh, joke's on her.
using a throwaway so I can get an impartial opinion since the two halves of our families are so completely split over this mess. I apologize for the length of this post. I, 20 female, am getting married in an official ceremony in a few months to my legal husband, 21 male, of 2 years. And his mother has been planning the real wedding difficult since the day we got engaged. By the way, this comes from Mild Nasty, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. Full disclosure, and kind of implied by the title, my husband and I initially became engaged due to an unexpected pregnancy that popped up while we were dating, and now we are the proudest parents of twins who are now 1 year old. I honestly don't blame mother-in-law for her initial negative reaction since we had been seeing each other secretly, and husband and his family learned about the pregnancy at the same time when my sister, 20 female, kind of lost her crap after finding out and went over to their house to punt his butt and started a physical altercation that ended with husband going to the emergency room for minor injuries. It was an entire mess, but after a lot of talking and arguments, I won't lie, husband was excited to be having kids despite the timing and circumstance. We got engaged immediately since he's fairly religious and wanted to avoid the social stigma around having kids out of wedlock, especially since it was something that badly affected my family growing up due to rumors started about my parents, partly by his mother. Mother-in-law actually fought then with husband about the children belonging to him, and after some things were said, he moved into my family's home where we stayed until we moved into our own place. Context, mother-in-law has doubts because for many years, my parents were in lavender marriage situation.
Basically just means that one or both were gay.
And we're doing IVF while also mutually dating a third. And my father was separately seeing his own partner during this time. My brothers and I don't look much like our legal father at the time, if I'm going to be honest. And in all likelihood, our biological father is my parents' third. However, my parents didn't care how we were conceived and raised us as my father's children in every way. My mother-in-law and mother were friends for years before falling out badly and were in the same social circles. Mother-in-law took personal offense to the unconventional dynamic in my family and made a spectacle of my mother every time she had a child before remarrying. My husband knew for a fact that the babies were his. However, and trust me when I told him as much, we had our own kids and planned to get married before they turned 1. But husband's schoolwork and family issues we both had to deal with on top of our raising the twins meant we had to rain check our first attempt. Now, just a few months before our official wedding, mother-in-law raises the issue again about a paternity test. Oh, my son looks exactly like my husband, especially in his old baby photos, aside from his eye color being a darker shade and his hair having a curl to it inherited from me.
She's like, I don't trust that this is your husband's because it kind of looks like you and it should only look like your husband.
My daughter, on the other hand, looks just like mother-in-law. I swear I'm not kidding. She has my hair color, but aside from her eyes, she has husband's eye color and she looks like mother-in-law in a miniature. Despite the physical evidence, she says there is obvious doubt due to my mother's history and implied that I was unfaithful to my husband in the past because of the example I grew up with and the fact we didn't start our relationship the right way. Aside from not seeing husband for 2 months when we got into a major fight and some cruel things were said about by both of us, we have talked and settled this fully. I have known him my entire life and spent half of it being his best friend and the other half in love with him. Even with my parents' completely agreed upon family dynamics, I saw firsthand the questionable nature of the paternity of my brothers, and I led to years of drama until they divorced, and resulted in a lot of insecurity that we had to cope with. I love my husband and never wanted him to experience even a moment of doubt in his head about the depth of my feelings and loyalty. My mother-in-law chose the day of the announcement of our wedding date to approach me in private to push for the DNA test and completely brought down my mood in seconds since I thought we were long past all of this. She spent so much time with the twins in the last few months before asking for the test. And now I have to worry about how she treated them when we weren't there and if she said anything bad in front of them. She kept using my daughter's appearance as an example of my indiscretions and insisted the only reason my son looks like my husband is because my mother shares features with him, and that when they get older, their true father's features would come out and her son would come out to his senses.
She's like, oh, they just happen to share features. That's why. They're not Pokemon. They're not going to look completely different as they evolve. That doesn't make any sense. It looks like your husband because it's your husband's child.
She said she wouldn't let her son be subjected to what occurred between my parents, and that she would fight for him even if he lost sight of reality because I was just as loose as my mother and wrapped him around my finger. So she even had the gall to imply that if both of the twins had been girls, husband wouldn't be as inclined to believe he was the father and would have called for a separation.
This woman is wacky.
How about you worry about being like the best grandma you possibly can be to your twins?
Why won't she give it up? Give it a rest, man.
It was around that time that I lost it on her. Husband adores our daughter just as much as our son and has talked about wanting more kids in the future. She's brought this up in my parents' house as well since they hosted the gathering where we announced our wedding date, which made my blood boil because she didn't have the decency to wait a while so she wouldn't disrespect me in the home I grew up in. I called her a miserable witch who couldn't stand the thought of other people being happy in their own relationships, and told her if she had that much doubt about the twins' paternity, then she wouldn't be around them anymore. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. I
Put
like
your foot
this.
down. Yeah, man.
You might as well. There would be no DNA test, and if one was conducted without my permission, then I would pursue legal action and drag her name through the mud in return.
Yes, drag her name.
That's how we do it.
Get the law on your side, man.
She wouldn't be going to the wedding either, since she was so determined for it not to happen. Here I know I was in the wrong because I didn't talk to husband before disinviting her. More personal things were said. The entire fight got loud for some people, all family thankfully, to overhear me all but punting her out. Thankfully, she left without too much of a fuss, likely because of the scene it would have made. But afterwards, husband's brother, 25 male, chimed in that I reacted too harshly and should just do the test to reassure their mother and move on. Their grandfather also agreed, saying it would settle the matter once and for all, and putting it off so far has brought on the exact suspicion that I wanted to avoid it in the first place.
Honestly, I think you get that DNA test and then you go no contact.
That's what it costs.
Yeah, you
get
go,
the
okay,
DNA test.
fine. You can have your DNA test, but then after, I don't want to see you guys ever again.
My stepfather threw husband's grandfather out afterwards, as he worn out his welcome by then and ended the celebration. My family reassured me in the aftermath that I was well within my right to be angry that she brought up the DNA test. But I noticed that husband stayed to the side with the twins and didn't respond even when we went home not too long afterwards. I think he might be upset with me for how I treated his mother and is waiting for a good time to bring it up, since it's likely a fight might start, and we always try to make sure the twins aren't around when they happen. We're dropping them off at their maternal grandparents' house later, so I'll be hearing his feelings on this then. By the way, you can hear us talk about feelings and other people's situations on your favorite freaking podcast platform. Where do they got to go to?
iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
And Sophia, what 11 letters do people have to type in order to get to their favorite podcast?
Okay, story time.
And boom, there will be a plethora of stories, just as this one, for you to listen to.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, no contact?
Honestly, if they keep pushing the issue, I think you tell them I think you could say like, hey, you can have your DNA test, but it will cost this relationship.
Is that worth that to you? I don't think this
or you can just get no contact. I don't. Yeah, I think that'd be a pretty good. Pretty good guess.
I'm worried that even if I was right for being upset yesterday, I went too far by getting so heated and raising my voice, as well as for throwing out personal barbs when I should have tried to stay calm and refuse her like an adult. I really regret calling her what I did and plan on apologizing for that no matter what judgment I get here. So am I the a-hole? We have one comment. Comment 1, not the a-hole. Tell mother-in-law you'll get the paternity test with the understanding that when it comes back that he's the father, she will never contact you again. No visits to the house, no texts, nothing. On a side note, WTF does your mom's spicy life have to do with you? OP says she is thoroughly convinced that I'll somehow force my husband into an open marriage of some kind due to what my mother did, despite my mother and I's situation being completely different. But guys, that's the end of that story. I'm going to go get some recruits, and I'll be back.
My grandmother has dementia, and she's always angry with me.
Oh boy, this sounds like a sad story, actually.
Trigger warning, this story is going to hurt you. So if you don't want that, then you need to not listen to this story. I'm going to try to explain this as well as possible. For my entire childhood, my grandma was a fantastic grandmother. She loved spending time with us grandkids, doing things with us, and just overall great. However, she has always been a difficult person in general. By the way, this comes from user Dementia Dilemma, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my dad, her son, 50 male, always said that in her mind, she has the only correct worldview. Anyone who remotely disagrees is just wrong. So she has the worst point of view. Cool. She would cause fights with my mother, her daughter-in-law, over things, and just create family drama in general. All the same, we love her, and I have very fond memories of her. A few years ago, she was diagnosed with dementia. Over the years since, it's gotten much worse. Due to her now current confusion, which I understand is completely out of her control, she has become mean and hateful to the point that even my grandfather, her husband, 70 male, that takes care of her almost 24/7, has to take mini breaks from her. As a kid, I was the perfect grandchild. I was enthusiastic, hardworking, and did everything within my power not to disappoint any of my family. Even as a teenager, I visited them every couple of days, and in college, I visited and called routinely. I'm also the only granddaughter and the only grandkid to go to college. My cousins aren't dumb, they just chose different paths, which is awesome for them. And my grandparents did put a lot of pressure on me to be the shining star of the family, in their words. If my GPA was a 3.9 instead of a 4.0, they'd asked, "What brought you down?" My grandma always said she didn't have a favorite grandchild, but pretty much everyone in the family acknowledges that even if I wasn't a favorite, I was special. I'm not praising this or bragging, nor did I want to be more special than my cousins, but this is just for context. However, last year, I got really busy. School was way more intense. I had an internship that took up almost all of my after-school time and weekends. I didn't have any time to visit or call that much because I was busy from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. most days, and I don't have a car. Don't need one where I live, so I relied on my other family to drive if we scheduled something. I did call when I could, though. However, because I did all this less than I have in the past, my grandmother got angry with me. She put down all my pictures, told everyone how selfish I was, and all manner of things.
Ugh.
Very unfortunate. My parents and my grandfather and myself tried to kindly explain everything to her, but because of her condition, she didn't understand. I missed the Christmas family gathering because my family scheduled it on a day I had to do my internship, and it couldn't be changed. I visited my grandpa later on in December, and he said we weren't seeing grandma because she was having a bad day. I was there for Thanksgiving last year, and my grandmother refused to say a word to me, though she socialized with everyone else. I talked to her, but she ignored me, and that hurt. Pretty much any time I see her since has been like that. I've only gotten busier with work and school, and as a result, I've been more unable to visit my hometown. Because of having to organize rides, a lot of times planning stuff doesn't work out. If I had a car, I would absolutely be there as much as I could. And I try to call, but she doesn't want to talk to me. It gets more complicated because she remembers things incorrectly. She claims I haven't been there for holidays when I have, that I never call when I do, and that I never give her birthday or Christmas gifts, and all that stuff. If someone corrects her, she gets angry and asserts that she knows she's correct. My other cousins never go to see her unless it's a holiday, but she doesn't hate them for it. Even my dad moved across the country and almost never calls, and she's not mad at him. It all seems like the anger is directed at me. I've given up on trying to reason with her. That sounds mean, but she cannot really understand reason anymore. I'm not angry at her, as I know this isn't her fault in the least. I've accepted that she isn't the same person anymore. I want to spend as much time with her as I can before her condition worsens or she passes away. But she's so angry at me, and I don't even know if my efforts will help, with her being confused and not remembering things. I feel tremendous guilt over this, like I've done something horrible. Maybe I didn't try hard enough before. Oh, that's not. Come on.
You haven't done anything wrong.
That's not what's going on here. I'm already doing all I can to schedule more visits, and I'm calling regularly, but it doesn't seem to be helping right now. How can I try to repair my relationship with my grandmother on some level? Maybe I didn't try hard enough. How do I make this right? And there's comments. Comment number 1 here says, she cannot really understand reason anymore, which also means that her anger is illogical and has nothing to do with what you have or have not done. You need to balance your understandable desire to spend whatever time she has remaining with her with the reality that not all of those interactions are going to be positive, and take care of yourself if it gets to be too much. Also, it's generally best not to argue with someone who has dementia. She complains that you didn't do something she's forgotten. Just say, you're right, Grandma, I'm sorry, but I'm here now and I want to spend time with you. And see if that gets her on a different train of thought. And there is an update here. Hey, y'all. First off, I want to say thank you to everyone who replied and to those who read it and said prayers and sent good vibes and thoughts my way. I spent a lot of time reading every reply, and I checked this account and was really touched by a few private messages I got asking how everything was. The fact that people remembered the post written by some internet stranger tugged at my heartstrings. And now on to the update. I spent a lot of time considering what everyone had replied and the resources and experiences others shared. It made me feel a lot better and clear-headed about the situation. I realized that my emotions were weird and I didn't know how to sort it out. For example, I was angry about being ignored and disowned by her when I was doing my best, but I felt I didn't have a right to be angry because her condition is not her fault. I should also mention that my grandmother wasn't the nicest of people before dementia, and the only people who really care for her are her blood relatives. That sounds really harsh, but the rest of the family acknowledges this too. So with a mixed bag of emotions of grieving for my grandmother, being angry about her treatment of me, anxiety about facing her at holidays just to be yelled at, I was really conflicted about going to Thanksgiving. I talked to my dad, my grandma's son, my mom, and my long-term significant other about my feelings. They understood where I was coming from and encouraged me to go to Thanksgiving if I wanted to and if it felt right to me. They gave me some sound advice that reinforced advice I got on the sub. So my mom talked to my grandpa about something unrelated and then called to tell me that I was allowed to come to Thanksgiving on the condition that my grandmother gets to scold and lecture, the exact quote, me. They all knew I wasn't going to go for that at all. My grandfather, her husband, and I'm pretty sure he's a saint sent from some deity, called me asking if I'd be going to Thanksgiving. My grandpa is her number one caregiver and gave up a part-time job he loved, all of his activities, traveling, etc., to care for her. It's not always healthy for him, but he loves talking on the phone to people now more than ever. So I always make the time. That was a tangent. Sorry. I told him I wanted to go if the scheduling worked out. We were still working out plans with my significant other's family, and he just lit up over the phone, and I could practically hear him smiling. I could absolutely not say no to him, even if I wanted to. For context, the issue with me and my grandmother has been stressing my grandfather out too. He loves me dearly, of course, and felt like they were losing their relationship with me over this because my grandmother cannot be reasoned with. Me not just agreeing to go, but wanting to go was a big deal for him.
Aww.
He told me that he and my aunt were going to sit down and talk to my grandmother on how to treat me at the holiday. I told him not to do more than he had to because I felt that I could handle it if she did go off on me, but also to not stress him out if she could not be reasoned with. He was committed to it, so I trusted his judgment. He couldn't promise she wouldn't go off on me, but he told me he would do his best to diffuse the situation if she did. The weeks carried on, and I volunteered to make the mashed potatoes, and I saw my mom's side the day before Thanksgiving. Then I got a call from my grandmother, and I was expecting the worst. However, she was extraordinarily pleasant over the phone and just wanted to talk about the food. The next day, my significant other and I went to her side for Thanksgiving. I was really happy it worked out that he could go with me as it soothed my anxiety a little. That and a well-stocked wine cellar. I kept in mind all the advice on this sub that said deflect, 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 so that helped me keep my head on straight. My grandmother was surprisingly present. She just seemed happy that everyone was there. For context, not much of my family goes to see her, which was part of my anger. My cousins never see her, even though they own cars and live closer. I live further away and don't have a car. Yet all her anger was focused at me when I made more time and effort than they did. My one cousin is studying a trade, and my grandmother did nothing but praise him and his accomplishments, which is well and good. She wasn't interested in me, my studies at the university, or goals. That stung a bit, as in the past, she always made a point to tell her she's proud of me, but this time it wasn't even so much as a pat on the back. I've sort of been the lovable black sheep for a while, so I'm kind of used to it, but I'm still a little hurt. The rest of the celebration went on without incident, hugs and hellos, sharing memories, that kind of thing. I told her I'd do my best to be there for Christmas, mainly depends on scheduling. My grandpa was overjoyed that everyone was there, and that made it all especially worth it for me. It certainly went better than expected. I'm a little sad that it's not like how it used to be, and I felt a bit disconnected from her. She didn't pay much attention to me, but it wasn't like last year where she didn't say a word to me. At this point, I'll take what I can get and look forward to Christmas, as I like that holiday better than Thanksgiving anyway. A lot of people had ideas for gifts, and I decided I'll be using my craft skills to make her a custom Christmas ornament. I'm hoping that helps. I know that her dementia is only getting worse, but I'm still going to do my best. I'm also graduating this fall, and I don't know how she's going to be with that, considering she hasn't really been interested in hearing about me for a while. And by the way, you can hear full episodes with stories like this. All you have to do is go to iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or Spotify and search OK Storytime, and you will find literally every story we've ever told. Again, I want to thank everyone for all their help and support, even the upvotes that helped my original post get more visibility. I felt like we made a big step forward in the right direction, so that's where I'm going to keep heading. I hope you all have lovely holidays, no matter your beliefs or customs, that are spent laughing and smiling with the people you love, whoever they are. And we have some comments. Comment number 1, don't take it personally. Really do not take anything she says or does personally. Read up on the stages of Alzheimer's and the different parts of the brain that get damaged with every stage. Try to take in the details. She has a terminal illness that is dismantling her brain. If you had a friend with MS who couldn't go running with you, would you take that personally? Reply, yeah, 100% this. My grandma had Alzheimer's, and sometimes she couldn't remember my name or who I was, and she didn't know anything about my studies or my life, and she sometimes got angry or sad for no reason. This is all because of her brain being confused. She wasn't the same person anymore. It doesn't mean that the person she used to be didn't love and care for me. Same goes for your grandma. Alzheimer's is weird because it's almost like you lose the person and grieve before they're gone. Maybe look into talking through that grief with a counselor at school or a self-help book. Relationships with people with dementia can become quite superficial due to their memory loss, inability to hold a conversation, etc. But with my grandma, I just tried my best to make her smile and make her happy and occupied when I was with her. That's all you can do. They might forget you were there as soon as you leave, but with my grandma, she'd still be happy after something good happened, even if she didn't know why. And sometimes there were moments when she seemed almost normal. You have to hold on to those. Definitely read up on Alzheimer's symptoms. I hope that helps you to feel like there is less of an attack on you. If that doesn't work, you might want to consider whether you take things personally in general and work on that issue. Comment number 2. One thing I did with my grandma who had dementia is I would leave her a little note telling her I was here and the date and put it on the wall. And I would put the next date I was coming to visit on it too. Comment number 3 says, this might be bad advice, especially since it seems like you don't have much free time, but have you considered writing her letters? It would give her something tangible to hold on and reread, and wouldn't be as easy for her to forget about as a phone call. You could send little care packages with a note and some pictures or trinkets to give her a more physical way to connect with you since you can't visit as often as you like. OP says, this is an idea. And I'll talk to my grandfather and I'll talk to my grandfather about it. She tends to prefer phone calls for the most part, for whatever reason. But she also really likes cute little cards and stuff, so that's something I was thinking about. I like crafts. That's something within my skill range. I like this idea a lot, especially the care packages. Thank you.
Oh.
And that is the end of that story.
Sad.
My mother-in-law hates me. Living with her has been unbearable.
Why don't you get those bears out of there then?
So, I, 33 female, and my husband, 26 male, have been together for 7 years, married for 1, and met while I was going through a nasty divorce from an extremely scary and all-around abusive situation. I came as a package deal with 2 kids, daughter, now 15, and son, now 9. My husband and I have a 1-year-old baby boy together. By the way, this comes from user Lopsided Escape 4135, and just like Lopsided, you can submit your stories to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, backstory. My now husband literally saved us. My ex was absolutely horrible to me, controlling to the point I couldn't work, and he only gave me just enough gas to get from point A to point B, and it was abusive in every single way that you can think of. I literally snuck us out in the middle of the night. Husband now has never been married before. I know people see the age gap. Sorry, not sorry, LOL. He's only lived with his parents before me, but fell quickly into a father role. After the divorce, the ex signed his rights away. He didn't want the kids and couldn't care for them anyway. So now my hubby is adopting them. Woo!
Yeah.
The 5 of us are happy. To be honest, I've never in my life been this happy. Now, on to her. Mother-in-law has not approved of us from day 1.
No.
She wanted better for her son, not a divorced single mom. I work 40 plus hours a week. I take care of my kids. I'm clean, respectful, honest, loyal, a little damaged, but aren't we all? So for years, I've tried to gain her approval. There's always something I do that she just doesn't like. She's very passive aggressive. Examples will be later. But see, I gave her a grandbaby, her only bio grandbaby, and second to her son, her only blood relative. She was adopted as a baby. So 2 years ago, before the wedding and our baby, hubby and I moved in together. I wanted him to experience being a full-time daddy with bills and everything outside of his parents before we made any further commitments. I wanted him to have a chance to decide if he truly wanted this, even though he said he did. I didn't want to be tying him down or not giving him a chance to live his life. I didn't want to feel guilty, and part of me always wondered if I wasn't good enough for her son. Christmas Day, 2 years ago, there was a horrible freeze. A pipe burst in our apartment and it flooded us out. We were near the end of our 1-year lease and the damage was too much for us to move back in. So we ended up staying with his parents for a while and we figured out what to do. There was a big issue with the apartment and there's currently a lawsuit against them, so we're stuck in limbo while we wait. We can't get another apartment. Our credit is trashed. All from this one natural disaster. We've always planned to build on his parents' land and decided that's when we would start now. It's been a long process, but I have been patient. So here we are in her house. Father-in-law is absolutely wonderful.
Yay!
Great. Really, if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have made it this far. First week in the house of the devil, it wasn't so bad. She was quiet, understanding, and knew we had been hit with a lot. For within the first month, mother-in-law's washer broke. Guess whose clothes were in it? Mine, of course. So naturally, it was my fault that a 25-year-old washer broke.
Oh my God, I relate to that so much. It's like anything random could break. And it's like, if it's just a freak thing, it's like, what did you do? What have you done?
I didn't do anything.
I just did the thing I've done 100 times, but this time it broke. I don't know.
I've never been talked to, belittled, degraded, trashed, and treated that way before in my life. Absolutely horrible. I had a very nice new washer and dryer set that was given to me, and I gave it to them for free. I felt so bad, but how would I have known this would happen? You think she so much as coughed up a thank you? Nope. Nada, nothing. So I stayed in our room. Our older two were staying with my grandma at the time, so we could get situated and settled so they didn't have to see everything within the devil's house. I can list off 100 more situations like this one, all just uncontrollable things that would just happen, but somehow were my fault. I should also add, she is a severe hoarder. This is a huge 2-story farmhouse. It's 4 bedrooms downstairs with 2 and 1.5 baths plus 2 huge bonus rooms upstairs. But there's so much stuff, we had to get storage, and she will not throw anything away, not even to make room. So the 4 of us at that time squeezed into 2 small bedrooms that were already full of her junk. She came to me crying one day after we announced our pregnancy, saying she wanted to clean out the house and make it better. I vowed to help her, and so I did. I cleaned out our 2 rooms, the spare, where father-in-law sleeps. That's a whole nother story, LOL. And her living room, kitchen, breakfast nook, and dining room. But then 2 days later, guess what?
What? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. She kept being a hoarder?
She kept being a hoarder. It was full of stuff. Again, I tried to pick up after everyone to keep it straightened, but she yelled at me because she couldn't find anything. I told her it's where it's supposed to be, and she yelled even more, how she left it out on purpose and so on.
We're going to get back to the story, but Sam, you have a copious amount of something.
What, John?
X's.
I have like 4 or 5 or 6.
I heard of 6 with a 0
All
behind
right,
it.
that 60 number, comes from somewhere else.
Where does that come from?
It comes from our OK Storytime membership.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Join a club almost as exclusive as Sam's X is. But let's get back to the story.
I explained, well, you asked me to help you, so... She snapped, whatever, rolled her eyes, and walked away. I quit for a while and only cleared space for us to eat. It got really bad, and my OCD can't take it, so I cleaned again, and again, and again, and again. This last time I swore I never would again. Mind you, none of this stuff belongs to us. It's all hers. Now, on to my kids. She has claimed them as her grandchildren from day one. She loves them, but she treats them like they're such a burden. They can't walk to the kitchen without her asking, "What are you doing? Where are you going? Who, when, where, and so on." My 9-year-old is constantly on eggshells and she yells his name 100 times a day. Calm down. Be quiet. Stop. And so on. And then, have you ever oinked at a teen girl for getting a brownie from the kitchen? Yeah. That hurt her a lot.
Dude, this woman is just revolting. Like, how are you going to treat my kids like this?
I would oink back. You're living in a pig pen right now, it seems like, pretty much.
Yeah.
My daughter is beautiful, in perfect shape, just gorgeous. And mother-in-law is, let's just say, could lay off the snacks, LMAO. My husband and I will try to have a private convo, and she will pause the TV and ask what we are talking about. I tell her I'm talking to him, and she gets pissy. Just so many things. Too many to type all out on here. Her entire family feels this way about her as well. She treats everyone like we are beneath her. I've come to realize she is this way because she has been enabled and allowed to be her entire existence. No one confronts her. Everything keeps the peace and just ignores her. Father-in-law and my husband have lived with it for so long, they just know how to let it roll. But I can't. I've tried to talk to her, tried to reason with her, tried to find common ground, but then she makes it seem like I'm crazy and there's nothing wrong. She will literally give you the silent treatment for nothing. Or if you don't tell her every single detail of everything you do. The last and final time she watched the 1-year-old was so hubby and I could run to the store and the storage unit. We were gone for a total of an hour. While we were gone, we decided to run by a drive-thru, and she called 20 minutes into the trip and wanted to know if he needed a bottle. I had already told her the answer before we left. She can hear hubby chewing a fry and was mad we didn't tell her we stopped to get food. It would have been nice to know beforehand. Like, why? It's not like she would have wanted anything. She had already eaten before we left. It added 5 more minutes to our trip. She is the one who pushed me to leave our child with her. It's just a simple fact she's nosy and wants to know everything about everybody. And we want you and everybody else to know that we have episodes just like this with stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you have your podcast app. Just search OK Storytime and we'll be right there.
We'll be there as long as the digital world exists.
We're at almost the end here.
Yeah.
And I'm at the end with this mother-in-law. I think, again, this is all so temporary. Even if you try to reason with her, you just bite your teeth and you're like, maybe, I know we don't have good credit and I know we're taking this as like a temporary home, but once we get everything, like we got to get the process of getting out of here as soon as possible.
I think I have just a couple things. Exactly what you just said, that this, you can make this, gas for the fire to get out of this situation. If you want like maybe some more closure about like why she is the way that she is, because honestly, the way that she treats you and like talks to you has probably it's nothing to do with you. It's just her.
It sounds like it's throughout everything with all the family members. It's not just you.
She is her own problem. And if you I would watch some Hoarders if you really want some insight onto like the psychology of like, no, like straight up though, like how difficult it is to get these people to see reality sometimes. Like they're so delusional that it's like, it's such a monumental task for you to even try to attempt to change her behavior or fix her. I wouldn't even waste my time with it. Honestly though, but you and your hubby should become fans of watching Hoarders until she starts bringing up how it makes her uncomfortable. And then you go, Why?
But let's go ahead and finish this story. I'm at my wit's end. Our house will be done in a few months, but goodness, every day I grow weary and I just feel so much hate in my heart. And yes, I am in therapy. My kids are in therapy too, but I feel things I've never imagined I could feel towards this woman. She's pure evil, mean, hateful, judgmental, and self-righteous. So on and so on. It's his mother. I can only say so much without going too far to him. But believe me, he is aware of her abuse towards us, especially when he's not around. So, what do I do while I wait for our home? How to protect myself and my kids? We literally have nowhere to go. Ugh, I feel like I'm going insane.
Like, honestly, anything is better than this. Anything is better than Hoarder House. Like, I know you say you have nowhere to go. I don't know if
You said you had some of your older kids stay with grandma. Can you stay with grandma? I mean, that's a possibility. Maybe if you're already living in such a tight space, what's another tight space where you're at least a little bit happier and a little bit more safe in a less controlled environment?
just a couple months, see if you can grit it out. I mean, clearly this woman doesn't deserve your respect. Like, I think you should straight up be watching Hoarders like at high volume.
Yeah, that's the end of that story.
It
We
is
have
the
another
end of
one
that story.
coming up for you guys. Stay tuned. My mother-in-law started beef between my neighbors and me.
Hey, Ma, I didn't need any more beef. What are you doing?
Where's the beef? It's here between my neighbor and me now. So for context, we live in a building that's attached to a few buildings, but we are on the end, so we don't have a front and side parking for our family. Our neighbors only have the front parking, so when we moved down here, we started parking on the side of the building, so our neighbors had more parking out front. By the way, this comes from user DarkyMoo01, and you can submit your stories to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I was not driving when we first moved, so any decision making related to parking, I was no part of it. Last summer, I had to get my license for a job, so I started parking with the rest of the family on that side of the building. The problem with this, well, the bats around there are really bad during the late summer/fall because our bug population suddenly plummeted, causing the bats to become more aggressive. Where do you live
Oh
where
my
there are
God.
bats?
The aggressive bats are hungry. Whoa, where is this?
Is Nosferatu your neighbor? My job kept me out until after dark, so whenever I would come home, I would have to sprint around the side of the building, the front door, because the back door was up 2 flights of stairs that were outside, and the bats would swoop and dive at my face while I was running. What nightmare is this?
Dude.
One time, a bat got a hold of my jacket and scared the bejesus out of me to the point I would sit in my car panic calling anyone who would answer to help me get inside without being attacked and would cry my eyes out to the person apologizing when I wasn't attacked. I was embarrassed, but I'm terrified of the hospital, and getting bit or scratched from a bat is an immediate trip for rabies, which is 6 shots in your stomach and roughly $10,000 depending where you live.
Dude, I did not even think about that. I forgot that bats can have bad ghoulies.
They're the chicken of the cave.
They got bad jubies inside them.
Yeah.
Zubies? No, but that's what I meant to say. Bad zubies.
Bad zoobies. Well, mother-in-law got wind of what was happening when she heard me crying and apologizing to her daughter, who's 12 years old, one night, and that she was unfortunately the only one to answer her phone. Mother-in-law asked me to please come back outside as she wasn't being attacked like I was claiming. So I reluctantly did, because as scared as I am of hospitals, I wasn't going to be called a liar. And she watched as 2 bats immediately started swooping and diving for my face
God.
as I ran back inside seconds later with her following.
So the bats have a vendetta against OP exclusively.
She called my fiance into the living room to let both him and I know that it was extremely strange of the bats to do that because she is such an animal expert, insert eye roll, and that I need to not be out after dark. I told her that I can't always be home before dark, and my fiance added that my job keeps me out after the sun sets. She then scoffed and said that getting attacked by a bat is way more serious than working, and I need to think about my baby over my replaceable job. I liked my job, and this response seemed ridiculous, but before I could say so, my fiance told her that no matter the job I had, I couldn't avoid being out after dark forever. She then thought for a moment and told me to start parking out front so I could make it to the door faster and avoid the bats. Plus, I had a baby, and this made it easier carrying the car seat to the car when I was taking them anywhere. I'm a small person, so carrying them was awkward, and you could tell. This actually was a good idea, and after some thought from me and my fiance, we decided this was a great idea. I even tried it the next night, and although I still had to run, the bats couldn't get close to me before I was at the door and then made it inside. This was a lifesaver for me, and I continued to thank her for a few weeks after for the idea. This is where the problem started. I hardly see our neighbors, and when I do, it's often in passing outside.
Wait, I'm sorry. This is where the problem started? It sounds like you've been having problems.
Can you call like pest control? Could you take down the trees or something?
You've got bat problems.
When I did eventually see them, they would glare at me, give me dirty looks, and refuse to say hi back or talk to me unless someone else was with me. I had never had more than a 3-sentence conversation with any of my neighbors, so this struck me as odd considering they barely knew me, and until now, they were always friendly and waving. They continued to do this for a month, leading from me parking in the first parking spot, closest to my door, but I didn't even consider that as the reason, as it is childish to get so mad over a single parking spot, as I almost never see them using it anyway. I told my fiance about how the neighbors were acting and how weird it was if it was over the parking spot, and he told me just to ignore them. So I did.
No. Hey, just knock, knock, knock. Hi, here's why I'm using this parking spot. Is that cool? Are you using it? That's what you do. You talk to your neighbors. What are we doing?
Sorry, I don't see you using that parking spot. I have a newborn or I have a child.
No, dude. This is what you see. This is what you say. You say, you want to see something crazy? And then you go get attacked by those bats. And you go, please, can I use your parking spot?
Like, if no one's parking there and I'm freaking out and we're getting attacked by bats. This was until last week. My little sister-in-law is pretty much my best friend. She never really has a chance to get out of the house and have fun, so I often take her with me to the park or the store or to town so she gets to get away from her family and have some harmless fun until the bats
start doing harm.
She is becoming a teen and dealing with those changes are hard. So I told her she could come to me with anything or even rant if she just wanted to. And we started calling this the swing talk because before I got a car, we would walk to the park and sit on the swings for those types of conversations/rant sessions. Well, since I now have a license, we can actually go to places and I can take her with me to the next town over to deliver something to my sister. On the way back, she asked if I had any updates or juicy work drama to share, and I hadn't, but then asked her in return, which made her get quiet. I asked her what was going on, and she originally told me she didn't want to say. I told her that was fine, but she then said, "It's about you though." My heart sank. What about me? I looked at her for a second before looking back to the road and said, "Something bad?" She responded with, "Not really, but Mom and Haley," fake name for her older sister-in-law, she's 32, have been talking about how it was a itchy move of you to take the neighbors parking when they all had an agreement set that the neighbors got the front parking and we got the side parking. Oh no.
Okay, the bat attacks though, what are we talking about?
And could we also talk about it's an empty parking spot?
Yes.
Duh.
And we just go talk to your neighbors. Wait.
I scoffed and laughed to myself a little. Was it not mother-in-law who had told me from the start to park out front? She then continued. She also told Dad about how you didn't even ask before parking out front. You just did it, and that made him mad because he wants in good graces with the neighbors. So when they decided to sell the building, he could try and buy it off of them. I was floored. I honestly didn't know how to continue that conversation with her, so I laughed and changed the subject to the cows that were passing, but I was furious.
Oh, that's a great segue. You're just like, check out those cows going, look at those cows.
And then let's check out the bats later. When we got home, she asked me not to say anything about it because she had heard over eavesdropping and I promised her I wouldn't. But after a day of it eating at me, whenever I went to my car, I told my fiance about it. He was just as mad because he was there when mother-in-law told me to start parking there. He then asked how I wanted to proceed and he would help me talk to his mom if that's what I wanted to do. I said no. I think Opie's a little non-confrontational here. Doesn't want to do with the neighbors, doesn't want to do with mother-in-law. You gotta be a little confrontational. I didn't want to talk to his mom about it. She had already proven to me that she was sneaky and shady and didn't care about me, so why would I show her how much of her evil tricks affected me? I told him I didn't want to talk to her and probably won't anytime soon. He then told me I can't avoid her forever because I live under her roof. But you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. And you know what I want you exactly to do is I want you to tune in to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. Dakota, what would we do here?
I think, well, first of all, just talk to the neighbors. The neighbors are the ones. Explain your situation. And everyone else, none of their opinions matter. It's like your dad's being like, oh, I wanted to get into good graces with them so I could buy the building. It's like, hey, all right. Be a real estate mogul. That's totally cool. I am going to park here so I don't get attacked by bats. Why is everyone acting like that? It's unreasonable.
And it's a free reign parking spot. No one's been parking there. It's an open spot.
Has been empty.
There's only one thing that you can hold with you, OP. It's the truth. And you're not telling that to anyone. You gotta tell that to everyone so they can understand you. Now you just got to have people talk behind your back or be shady. The neighbors give you dirty looks. That can all go away if you just open up a little bit the truth and just tell them, or just have your husband there with you and you do it together.
You can be like, watch. You don't believe me? Watch me get attacked by bats right now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Or
also, maybe figure out why that's happening too, because clearly your like mother-in-law went out there, or was it the mother-in-law or the sister-in-law?
Mother-in-law.
The mother-in-law went out there
and saw her
and was like, "Oh, it's fine. There's nothing wrong. Look, I'm not getting attacked." She walks out there, gets attacked. So something is triggering the bats to assault you.
But let's finish up this story. Just because I'm forced to be here for the moment doesn't mean I have to talk or associate with that kind of teenager backstabbing. The neighbors still won't talk to me, and they still glare at me, and I've started getting mean looks from people I don't even know, but have seen around my neighbor's place from time to time. So, would I be the a-hole if I ignored my mother-in-law over this? I do not plan on talking with her about this. I just want to know if my reaction is justified or not. Okay, you would be the a-hole if you just keep this all to yourself. The fact that you're not doing anything about it. You're just like, okay, they're gonna talk crap behind my back, and I know the truth, and there's bats attacking me, but I'm gonna move to the parking spot and make things just peachy clean.
Yeah.
No, you're being an a-hole to yourself, and you're being an a-hole to your neighbors because they're just staring at you, and they're like, oh, that's the neighbor that sucks.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, that's the neighbor that thinks they're entitled to our parking spot, and it's like, maybe if they knew you were being assaulted by bats, they would be more understanding.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law is a deceitful body shamer, so we went low contact with her.
Yeah, shame her for being awful.
There you go. So late last year, my 41 female mother-in-law and my husband, 42 male, had a conversation regarding a financial situation that was about a will and family money type deal. Not a ton of money, but enough that would be a huge help to us. By the way, this comes from the Universe System 6 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my mother-in-law told my husband that once everything in the will was settled, the entire amount of money would be split evenly between her, my husband, and his brother. A total of about $115K each.
Man,
Wow.
that's crazy.
She also told my husband that my brother-in-law was not interested in his share. First red flag here, in my opinion. A parent of two living in an expensive city doesn't want free money, so the split would more than likely be between her and my husband. When my husband relayed all this information to me, I was neutral about the whole matter. This money is family money, and I'm a person who married into it, so I have no real say to what happens with the money until it hits our bank account. I was here to be supportive of my husband, but really the money was not my business.
Good way to think about it.
Yeah, I agree. So time passes. The person who the will is for passes. We have the funeral, and of course, there is real time and processing time for all the affairs to be in order. My husband reached out to his mom a few times to offer to help her with the arrangements and anything else that she needed, as she was the person doing primarily everything. She declined every single time, saying it was handled and not to worry. I don't know about that.
Something is really suspicious here.
Yeah. Again, my spidey senses were tingling about my mother-in-law being shady, but as this is money I have no claim to, the most I did was reminding my husband to be supportive of mother-in-law and ask for updates. A few months later, the entire family, minus my father-in-law, who was home, his choice, watching all of the family pets, went to Lake Tahoe in California for a spring break vacation. Some things to note before I go further. For those who don't know, Tahoe is high in the mountains and the air is really thin. Also, it was really cold for me, a California girl who was happiest in the low 70s, LOL. The weather was in the 40s and 50s the entire
Chilly.
trip.
As another
chilly.
California girl, I get you.
Me too. I don't even know what it is right now. We're so cold right now.
We're just talking about how freezing we are.
It's probably 60 out or something.
58.
58.
A cool 58. That's
The
pretty
freezing
chilly.
temperature.
Yeah. For California, that's practically snowing.
It's true. I reside in a larger body. This has always been a topic of contention for my mother-in-law, as she is very fat phobic and lives in a diet culture mentality. My brother-in-law's wife is thin and also a diet culture believer. I also want to point out that I had a full physical a few months before, and my doctor said I was perfectly healthy. Everything was good. I am not even pre-diabetic, which my sister-in-law is. I know that size is not an indicator of health or having diabetes, but my mother-in-law and sister-in-law don't. So the trip progresses, and due to the cold weather and thin air, I'm struggling a bit to be active. And yes, I'm finding it harder to breathe. My mother-in-law can't stop asking me if I have asthma, if I need a wheelchair, etc.
Oh my God.
That's excessive. She also can't stop taking her eyes off my plate when we eat at every meal. That's so
I
exhausting.
hate that.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
keep your eyes on your own plate.
Yeah, it's just food.
Yeah, we need those little, in middle school or
In like
grade school or something when you had like you took a test.
They
you
had, like, the
manila
dividers?
folders. Yeah,
Yeah.
we need those for when you eat together.
Right. She does this for my husband too, by the way. Finally, the trip comes to an end and my husband and I drive home with my mother-in-law. It is a 3+ hour car ride filled with her commenting on mine and my husband's food habits, how much weight we have gained, and how she has seen some family members pass away from diabetes. But she won't let that happen to us.
It's
It's
exhausting.
not gonna happen.
It's literally not gonna happen.
She's fine. If you need a doctor's note, she can get one.
Are you a doctor, mother-in-law?
Right.
Because otherwise, keep your opinions to yourself.
Being trapped in the car with her, I tried to reason with her, but she kept commenting on my body and being super rude. I finally plopped my headphones on and stopped talking to her for the rest of the drive. Once we finally dropped her off at home and we headed back home ourselves, my husband and I had a long talk. I told my husband that this was the straw that broke the camel's back and I was not going to tolerate my mother-in-law's fat phobia anymore. Her commenting on my body is not okay. My husband was supportive and completely took my side. He has had to tell mother-in-law a few times before to stop her behavior regarding my size and mental health issues. We got home from the trip and mother-in-law called my husband to chat and thinking I was not around began to talk about my weight and size. My husband told her she was on speaker and again stopped commenting on her size and weight. I pointed out to my mother-in-law, not for the first time, that I had a full physical and my doctors had said I was healthy. Mother-in-law completely ignores it and keeps hammering in about how unhealthy we are. And then I pointed out her comments were really triggering to me as a person who has food issues and eating disorder. Her response to that was, "Oh, I know." And then she continued her spiel.
Oh my God. She was like, yeah, I actually don't care.
Right. Like, I know you have issues, but I'm not gonna do anything to help
I'm
you.
going to
with
make
it.
them so much worse. You're welcome.
Yeah. My husband told her if she could not speak respectfully, he was done and hung up the call. Again, my husband and I had long conversations on how I will no longer tolerate her disrespect and fat phobia. I set firm boundaries, and of course, my husband was 100% supportive. After that conversation, I thought that if I sent mother-in-law a well thought out email that explained how she was hurtful and tried to get her to see my side of the matter, maybe it would open a door for a productive conversation.
I don't think so. I don't think she can. I think you've already tried so many times and she doesn't
I
listen.
think she's beyond help.
Yeah.
I spent 2 days crafting said email and had my husband, best friend, and therapist read the email to get their feedback. They all agreed that it was polite and got my points across. I emailed it to my mother-in-law and then put my phone down for a few days to try and relieve the anxiety of the whole matter. 2 weeks later, my mother-in-law replied. Wow, a whole 2 weeks. The gist of the email was that she would think about what I had said, but she still could not believe I was healthy being the size I am. She also dropped another bomb. Remember the money situation from earlier? The email detailed that rather than split the money as she said she would before, she was giving my husband and brother-in-law $40,000 each and keeping the rest, which is about $475,000 for herself because she needs to take care of herself for once.
Can she I wonder. Well, she might be able. I was going to say, can she legally do that? But
Yeah, I don't
possibly
know.
if she is the one in control, like,
Yeah.
supposed to divvy it up.
Yeah, because that might be what it is. I think
Yeah.
I might have to check, but I think that might be right. Where it's like it was all for her, but then she
Yeah.
was like, "No, well, I'll split it
Yeah.
evenly."
Or you have like someone's name on it and then they're in charge of splitting it up. But oh
Yeah.
my God.
Oh my gosh.
No one's going to want to talk to her ever. She's
Yeah.
going to lose her whole family.
It truly felt that she was doing this in retaliation for us standing up to her. I pointed out that if this money was left to him by name, mother-in-law could not do that. We did some digging into legal records and found that my mother-in-law had essentially taken over, gotten rid of the will,
God.
and now had all the power with this money.
Oh my God.
Also, this had happened last year. She had never planned on splitting the money with my husband as she had told him before. My husband was heartbroken, not about the money, but the blatant lies his mother told him. Not to mention her disrespectful behavior on and after our recent trip. My husband and I, at that time, decided to go extremely low contact with mother-in-law and added brother-in-law and sister-in-law to the list when my husband called his brother to talk about the entire situation. My brother-in-law basically told my husband, if you were doing better in life, you would not need the money. That's a diss from the brother-in-law. Like, if you won't even need that 115K if you were doing well. Like,
It's crazy. It's like, okay, but we're not, so we do need the money.
right. Some time has passed and my mother-in-law has reached out to my husband. I have her blocked on everything. Same with brother-in-law and sister-in-law. And she gave my husband an "if you feel hurt, I'm sorry," which I pointed out is not a real apology. My mother-in-law also has said she has no idea why I'm angry with her, but if I want an apology, I need to unblock her. Nope. I have made it clear to my husband that I have no problem with him seeing his family and trying to mend things, but my contact with them is basically done.
Yeah, I mean, you've been just like harassed over and over and over, and there's just no point here.
Right.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law has been ashamed for years to have plus-size daughter-in-law. Now she no longer has one. Boom. Mic drop. My husband is, of course, super supportive of my boundaries and needs. By the way, we'll always be supportive of your boundaries and needs if you join us live on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Tap it.
Tap it.
Do it.
There is a little bit more, but
yeah, no, I think that's the best solution. You just need to really go no contact with these people.
right. Here is where I'm wondering, am I the a-hole? I have been reading a lot about not hanging on to anger and trying to understand where people come from. And though it doesn't excuse the behavior, it gets you to a place where you understand and can move forward. I really have a hard time seeing this happening. Ever. I don't want to make my husband feel like he has to choose his family or me, but I really don't think my mother-in-law is ever going to stop with her shady antics. Am I the a-hole for not ever wanting to forgive my mother-in-law and by extension, brother-in-law and sister-in-law? Are my boundaries too much? Asking as a former people pleaser and emotional support eldest daughter. If you read this entire thing, thank you. I appreciate y'all so much. And that is it.
You are not the a-hole at all.
No.
You're just trying to set boundaries, as you said.
Yeah.
And these people can't accept them, and that's their problem.
Yeah. And I mean, time will pass too.
Yeah.
I feel like, if right now it feels like you'll be angry at her forever, that's fine.
Yeah.
It might not happen that way, like you might kind of let go of it just with time, but I don't think you need to put pressure on yourself.
But that is the end of that story. So let's get into the next one. My toxic in-laws are absolute nightmares. I don't want them anywhere near my son.
Get him out of there.
I, 24 female, and my fiance, 23 male, have a beautiful little boy. He was not planned, but he is the absolute best thing that has happened to us. Such a sweet, smiley little boy. I've tried so hard to get along with my future mother-in-law, but she is an absolute nightmare. By the way, this comes from Jealous Barnacle 560 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So, she has not met our son. He's almost 3 months now, and I just don't feel comfortable with her seeing him. My future father-in-law either. Father-in-law smokes terribly and was not even considerate about it while I was pregnant until I told my fiance to mention something. He would be dramatic about going outside in the cold. Made me feel great. The future in-laws are extremely negative people, never have anything good to say. Only thing my mother-in-law talks about that's somewhat positive is the rodents she breeds / shows, which that's a whole thing. They live under her trailer house in low-key kind of nasty conditions, smell horrible. She also gets rid of any of them that won't take care of their litters after being bred all the time. Not good. This is crazy.
Wait.
She's like just like a rat lady.
Yeah, so they're just like I was
under the
mentioning imagining like pets.
No,
but
they live under the house and
the
she
trailer
kills them if they don't breed well, or if they don't take care of their litter. I don't know.
Strange.
Not good. I avoid talking about it with her. I had a big rabbit as a kid and can't imagine treating her, my rabbit, that way. Future mother-in-law made my pregnancy horrible. She would attack me over the dumbest things. I worked at a local grocery store with her daughter, future sister-in-law, how I met my fiance, and she would often create drama between her and I, as well as calling me a liar for things I never lied about. She's very rumor obsessed. Tried to avoid talking to her at all costs, but my fiance really wanted me to have a relationship with her. She would purposely bait me in conversations to get information out of me. I was stupid and fell for it at first. She was just using me to create more rumors about people. I just wanted so badly to get along. I have not seen her since Mother's Day. I had my baby in August. She called me big on Mother's Day while I was pregnant.
What?
And I never went back over it completely. Recently, she had a meltdown and called my fiance. She called him crying over not seeing her grandson, and he absolutely fell for it. You need to have a conversation with your your fiance, and say like, hey, your mother is incredibly manipulative.
Yeah.
And this is not healthy.
Right. Like at the
Like, I've
very
noticed
least,
this
you just
behavior.
don't like being around her because she
Yeah.
makes you feel bad.
She's mean to me.
Yeah.
Crocodile tears completely. She pulled at his heartstrings. He went to their place alone afterwards, and future mother-in-law got a bunch of presents. I didn't want any of it. She never helped us out while we were struggling, and I was pregnant. Or even after we had our little one, I told her I didn't want clothes, lots of clothes. I have everything sitting in the corner in my dining room, and I don't even want to look at it. Bothers me terribly. Hate seeing a reminder of her in my home. She's never even been over, mainly because she's so judgmental and low-key kind of crazy. She has made my life a living hell, and I'm so worried about the holidays coming up. She attacked me over Thanksgiving last year. I got my COVID vaccination. I lived with my mid-80s grandpa, and both my parents were high risk. I've made it very clear that I don't mind if anyone hasn't been vaccinated, their choice, but I did it to lower the impact because it was hitting our small town bad. She proceeded to get in my face about how I would be infertile and how it messed up my body. I found out I was pregnant in December, definitely was not infertile. She's telling you that you're infertile as you're pregnant?
Yeah. What? Like, you're good.
I think you're okay.
She's good.
She's good, man. She's
Right.
good. Your mother-in-law sounds crazy.
Yeah.
She made Christmas so awkward. We sat in a cold shed and ate hamburgers. Mine was not cooked fully, and I didn't even feel comfortable enough to say something about it. Cried the entire 10 minutes home. I was worried about it hurting the baby. They didn't appreciate anything we got them either. We brought over my 8WK ultrasound pictures, and they didn't even smile. Not a reaction. Same with the 20WK. Broke my fiance and I both. Don't even smile about your new grandchild.
That is so sad.
So cold.
Yeah. Like it's a picture of the baby.
It's a picture of a baby.
That's so exciting. And you're not going to have
You're not
any
gonna be
sort
like-
of reaction?
Mother's Day was worse. I was definitely showing and puffy. She called me big again? Or no, wait, I think this is going back in time. Took it very hard. I was a solid 170 pounds before and gained some weight. It was hard for me. I know it's partially her own insecurity showing. She was much smaller than me before kids, and now she's too big to even get up on any of her horses. I can tell she's insecure. We got her flowers for Mother's Day, carnations she could plant in the yard, her favorite flower. Money was very tight. My fiance was laid off for a few months because the company he works for was bought out. It was very difficult. Future in-laws laughed and made comments because future sister-in-law bought them a very expensive magnolia tree. It was embarrassing. Honestly, felt stupid getting her something. So the in-laws are just making fun of the gift they gave them because it's not expensive enough.
Yeah.
The sister got them a tree, like a whole tree.
A whole tree, and then they just got the little flowers, but it's not still sweet though.
It's still sweet.
Yeah.
It's not their fault that the sister got a tree.
Right. Like
Who does that?
They're just joining in together to make it a beautiful garden.
Exactly. We've got this beautiful tree
Yeah.
and beautiful flowers.
Yeah.
Not a competition.
Leave her alone.
Especially being made fun of because we couldn't spend much. She never appreciated anything. I tried so hard, but I had it. So I went no contact. She sees pictures of him on my Facebook, doesn't react to any of them. I hear through other people that she's talking badly. I can tell by the way they act towards me, especially their family. I've considered blocking her, but I don't want to create more drama. I wish I could cut her off completely. By the way, you should never cut us off because you can join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap our profile. And there is a little bit more to this story. But what are your thoughts? What do we do here? What does OP do?
It just seems like everyone on that side is really annoying.
Yeah.
And it's just like making fun of them for stupid things.
Yeah.
Her weight when she's literally pregnant.
Actively pregnant.
Yes. Like, come on. Like, of course she's big. Everyone gets big when they're pregnant.
That's
because
how pregnancy freaking works.
Yeah, there's another human inside of you. Like,
sorry, I can't look like I did before I had a human inside me.
yeah. Like, especially, I feel like especially, it's like you were a mother.
Yeah.
You should understand.
No,
Should be a little nicer.
She just seems pretty like jealous in a weird way of OP, and I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. Don't let her around your kid. She's just gonna be nasty. Unless she can prove that she's gonna, apologize and be a functioning member of this family.
Yeah.
For more context as well, she was abusive to her kids, both sis-in-law and my fiance. But sis was the fave, and my fiance got most of it. Father-in-law was an alcoholic and still is. Not supportive parents, never showed up for their son, never cared to, make excuses to this day. I fully believe that she is full of it. In the crying phone call, she said she'd be better and wanted a relationship with me and my son. I don't want it, but I don't want to hurt my future husband. I love him so very much. He tries his best, but I know he's trying to please his parents. And yes, he sticks up for me. He's such a good man, not the problem. He just has awful parents. Am I the a-hole for not letting my in-laws see their grandson? I need some advice. And that is the end of that story.
Wow.
I don't think that you're the a-hole. I think that as a parent, you have to decide who you want in your child's life. And if they are not going to be, a good person for your child to be around, if they're going to spout nonsense and mean stuff, then we just don't need them around them.
Yeah. Especially if they were abusive too.
Yeah.
To the father.
Yeah. You don't want them around kids.
Right. It's one thing if they're just a little toxic, a little weird, but it's if they're just straight up abusive and you know that,
yes.
It's that's not going to just go away.
No.
Very easily. That's
it's risky. It's risky.
Yeah. So you wouldn't want your grandkids to be around that. I think that's very fair.
Yeah. I think that having a conversation with your fiance and just seeing where he's at, this is the decision that I think you both need to make, but just putting your son first.
Yeah. And I don't think you'd be the a-hole for doing that.
No. But that's the end of that story. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow. My mother-in-law wants us to enroll our child in her daycare, but it's way too far.
Insider trading.
My mother-in-law works for a private school, daycare, preschool through middle school, 20 miles from where we live. When I was pregnant, she requested that when it comes time to select preschools, she would like to be involved since she has experience in that area. I said, sure. By the way, this comes from by preschool. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So when our baby was about 3 months old, I began looking for part-time daycare so I could get back to work. And at the time, my mother-in-law approached us with an incredible offer from her own school for full-time care for a fraction of what most places charge, even for part-time, because she's an employee. But her school is far away, 40+ minute drive with morning, evening traffic, and I don't even really want to move. Relocating closer to this preschool would mean moving further from, or relocating altogether, my own office, and a little longer of a commute from my husband. It also means moving away from the same city where my parents live, and they've proven extremely reliable and enthusiastic babysitters. My husband is more on the fence because preschool is obscenely expensive, and he understandably wants to be able to save the money. Also, deep down, I think he is a little hesitant to tell his mother no, as sometimes she can be unpredictable in how she reacts when she doesn't get her way. Sometimes it's fine. Other times it's not. Whenever the topic comes up, his mom does her darndest to sell it. She talks about what other preschools and daycares do that are wrong or dangerous, the teaching methods her school utilizes that are superior. She suggested I start working remotely near the school, out of a cafe, or even her house. I'm self-employed. She even offered to help by driving the baby home a couple times a week. But even when trying to look at this objectively, I still don't like it because regardless of who drives, I don't think such a long daily commute is actually good for a kid. And if we committed to the school, I'm concerned things might suddenly begin coming up that would result in me doing all the driving anyway. So at the time, baby was 3 months old. I gently insisted that what we needed wasn't technically a school environment. It was just care, and it was just part-time. I found an in-home daycare I liked in our city and signed up. We could definitely use the money we're paying for daycare, but we're getting what we expected out of it. I have time to work, it's close by, the care is good with small babies and engaging with children, etc. Mother-in-law did not make any fuss about the decision, but then again, she also wasn't invited to tour the daycare or anything like that with us either. So I wouldn't say she had much of a chance to make her views known about it. So this is all before the preschool's not even the thing yet, because baby's 3 months old.
Dude,
I mean,
we are.
you should think ahead because, of course, you want to make sure that you are living near a good preschool.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of parents do.
Yeah.
To my knowledge. But any thoughts?
Not
so
that
far?
you would know.
Not that
For
I
any
would know.
reason. Or have any reason to prepare
Not that
for
I would know. You know, I've really been thinking a lot about preschool.
How does this keep happening?
Yeah. I mean, Easter did just happen. Immaculate conception.
Oh, true.
I like to give her the benefit of the doubt and believe that she understood the first year is full of many challenges and we were doing our best. Now our baby is 1.5 years, and I'm starting to feel it's time she enjoys a more educational and immersive experience, and I've started researching preschools. The most affordable ones are religious schools, and we are not religious. The ones advertising similar curriculums to mother-in-law's school, mother-in-law and husband more likely to approve, are sickeningly expensive. I finally narrowed it down to 2 places. One is unaffordable, but offers financial aid. Hopefully we would qualify for enough to attend. The other would be affordable, essentially what we're paying now, but is a church all faiths preschool, and I'm sure it would take more to convince my husband. None of this takes into account whether either of these places would even pass mother-in-law's pre-agreed inspection, and even at their best, neither could match the affordability of the opportunity at her preschool, which she won't let us forget, of course. Reddit, help me approach this situation with my husband and mother-in-law, who I agree to include back when I was pregnant. I have been sitting on this for a few months now, but haven't been able to work up the nerve to restart the conversation and open this can of worms all over again. Mother-in-law pushing hard to enroll our child with her school, commute be danged, even to the point of suggesting all of us relocate. Husband leaning toward whatever is the best value, commute be danged, and wishing for his mother's blessing on our decision regardless of what it is. I am bracing myself for what I expect may turn into a battle royale of me versus my mother-in-law, with husband stuck in the middle. I almost forgot to add, the last time mother-in-law brought up the topic of preschool was when I wasn't present. I think she may suspect that my mind is mostly made up, and convincing my husband when she's got him alone is her best shot, which is what has tipped me off that this is still a very sensitive subject that's dear to her. And there is an update, but any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just simply on the subject of like, you will not pick a place without my approval as a mother-in-law. It's like, stop that.
I think you guys need to get on the same page as parents about how much you're going to let her boss you around.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're already saying that your husband's kind of just going to acquiesce to whatever she wants to do, that's probably going to be a problem throughout your, parenting.
Yeah, like,
especially if this is your first kid, he might be a little bit more nervous and more likely to think that, mom knows best. You gotta talk that. Yeah.
Like, if we set a precedent of like, all of the, big decisions for our kid has to be run through and approved by mother-in-law, then it's like, okay, well, now we've lost the ability to parent our child, kind of. Yeah. It's like, if mother-in-law disagrees, but we don't want to do it, well, what are we doing?
But there is an update.
So
let's get into it. When my husband, Mark, and I were pregnant with our daughter, Eve, my mother-in-law, Polly, made the specific request that she be involved in our selection of preschools when the time came for the sort of thing. Polly is an administrator for a reputable private school in her area, about 35 minutes from where Mark and I live. Now we've gone down 5 minutes. And considers herself an expert in child development, daycare safety, quality academics, etc. From her point of view, this was how she could be most helpful. From mine, she was pushing her boundaries. When Eve was an infant and we began exploring childcare options in our area, not preschool, just straight childcare, Polly began pressuring Mark and I to enroll Eve in the daycare and preschool where she works, which we dismissed as it is simply too far of a drive from us. I was especially against it as I knew I would be the one doing 99% of all the chauffeuring, and I also do not believe in sitting in lots of traffic on a daily basis is beneficial to a toddler. She didn't let up, but we ended up sidestepping the issue temporarily by declaring that we just needed childcare and not a schooling environment since our daughter was still so young. And we instead put Eve in a local in-home daycare a couple days per week. Polly knew when the battle was lost and dropped the subject after that, mostly. Anyway, at the time of the original posting, Eve was 18 months old and I was ready to start looking at preschools, especially due to waiting lists. But I was reluctant to follow through with the promise I had initially made to Polly way back when I was pregnant, since it now seemed clear to me that Polly had an agenda all along. That is, to get her granddaughter enrolled in the preschool where she herself works. I also felt my husband Mark was unenthused about getting involved, which was not helpful at all. I really love reading solid updates, and I wanted to make sure mine was finalized before coming back. So first off, I read all the comments and did come to agree with most that I was letting my mother-in-law get too far into my head about her entitlement. I felt more reassured about putting my foot down regarding her role. I have learned a lot from this community. That said, when it comes to matters involving my mother-in-law, for my husband's sake, I try to keep things cordial, and I was not about to start any unnecessary drama over this, particularly since Polly is not as bad as some of the cases I've read about here and on Just No Mother-in-Law. So regardless of whatever action we took, I expected her to be civil as long as the boundaries be expressed were made very clear. I still have these expectations of her, to be honest. After reading the comments on my post, my confidence was bolstered and I began doing research on local preschools. I found a good time to sit down with Mark to present some brochures and discuss everything. He balked at first, but eventually it all came out. His chief concern above all else was simply the cost. He had never done any research into how much preschools really charge, and everything he knew was based on popular opinion. What? He's like, I don't know. I just didn't think it would come up with the kid. I thought we could just skip right into kindergarten. And she's like, did you know how much kindergarten costs? He's like, I don't know.
I thought
Free?
This was the whole discussion thus far was all a part of this. And what? I am so confused.
Such as preschool being more expensive than college tuition, or what other people had told him about it, including his own mother, of course, who'd suggested that all preschools were so expensive, we wouldn't be able to afford any place but hers, thanks to her staff discount. She had suggested the same to me, but she comes off as more transparent to me than she does to Mark. All in all, Mark had come to believe that we would have no choice but to send Eve to his mother's preschool because everything else would be impossibly unaffordable for us. He didn't do any research. He was just like, well, my mom says so I simply must go with what Mama says.
My friend said that it's like expensive.
Mama said it is so expensive. I couldn't possibly afford it with my little man money.
I could never do it.
My little boy money. I just couldn't pay for the schooling.
I can't.
Do some research, man. Don't just listen to what other people tell you. Like, look up options. Near you, preferably. This is where I was able to open his eyes a little and show him that, in fact, we could be paying less than our current daycare rates at some of the schools due to their policies on age, potty training, in some cases financial aid, how many days per week enrolled, and other factors. Once he realized that there were actually some options out there that were affordable for us, he quickly became more receptive to talking about it and considering schools near us instead of only his mom's. So this was a step forward in regards to his involvement. He also admitted that he was indeed a little nervous to bring it up around her, since it's clearly a sensitive topic that is near and dear to her. So we agreed to not mention preschools in her presence until we came closer to crossing that bridge, which wouldn't be until our daughter was 2 anyway, possibly even older. 2 is the earliest age most preschools will accept kids. After that discussion, I, along with Eve, went and toured a number of the schools I found, and Mark was able to accompany us for a couple of them. We put Eve on the waiting list for a few that we liked the most in anticipation of enrollment openings when she was of age. I must confess, I was naively hoping for a mid-year enrollment shortly after Eve's 2nd birthday, so we would have only shelved the topic for about 6 months before moving forward, not really giving Polly the chance to bring it up again before it was just too late for her to say anything. But waiting lists for quality preschools are no joke, and by the time Eve turned 2, it was looking like the earliest we would be able to enroll her would actually be the fall semester, which was another 6-month wait after her birthday. Dang, these preschools are tough.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard by popular opinion that some of these schools that just have like crazy wait lists, but wow.
I feel like I'm always watching shows, movies and something where they're trying to get their kid into a preschool and they're like, oh, we just want the best preschool for our child, and whoever's working at the preschool is like, well, here at the Montessori baby school we teach your children not only the ABCs but also how to write in MLA formats.
Okay,
so
can we be honest, like, let's just give the baby a rock. Like, babies,
give them a rock and see what they do.
Have you seen a baby with a spoon?
They love that stuff.
They love that.
That wouldn't have been so bad if Polly hadn't started pressing for information regarding our preschool plans right when Eve turned 2. Polly knew full well that waiting lists could be prohibitively lengthy, and she was genuinely curious whether we were taking any action yet in order to get Eve enrolled somewhere before age 3, which is the standard preschool age. Reddit, I was really hoping we could make it till enrollment before the issue resurfaced, but 6 months is a long time to deflect questions, especially since we see Polly once a month or so. About 4 weeks following Eve's 2nd birthday, Polly started bringing up preschool on the regular, literally every time we saw her. It drove me crazy. It was always the same, almost like a broken record. She would ask Mark about it. She never brought it up with me, and Mark would repeatedly brush the issue aside, telling her, oh, OP is still researching schools. Eve is on a bunch of waiting lists. We'll see who calls us first before we make a decision. He avoided mentioning that I had actually toured schools and made it sound as though we wouldn't be making any decisions, even though by then I was about 80 to 90% certain where Eve would end up. Predictably, Polly would sigh about it and express how much she wished Eve would attend her school, but that was about it. After a few months of this, Polly got the hint that she was getting nowhere pressuring Mark, and she already knew she had no chance of swaying me. It was clear Eve would not be attending her preschool. So she switched tactics and suddenly, surprisingly, became legitimately helpful. She told me that she could get us a tour and a discount at a school similar to hers, but near us. That sounded fine with me, so we set up a time to tour the place and meet Polly's friend, the director. Turns out the school is great, and the discount the director offered to us was significantly more generous than I anticipated, half off tuition. After all my research, I was well aware we wouldn't come across another deal like this. So we took it and signed Eve up for the soonest enrollment opening, which was this past summer. We thanked Polly for her help and sent the director an actual thank you card for her incredible generosity with the tuition. Honestly, I feel like we need to start now. Start making friends with preschool directors.
Honestly, yeah.
That's the move, apparently.
You know what?
If you know a preschool director, schmooze. Schmooze, man.
Here's the problem. Are you ready? What we really should have been doing was meeting the preschool directors as the babies in preschool. We should have been schmoozing them up, you know.
We should have found, like, when we were a baby and the preschool director was a baby, we should have known that they were going to become a preschool director. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I was saying, but that is truly so much better because we can incept them to say, okay, A, you're going to be like a baby or a preschool director, and 2, you have to have my child. It is your literal life's goal to accept my child for free and give them everything.
Yeah, you go up to this other little kid, you're like, hi, I'm a baby, and you're a baby. Wouldn't it be fun if you hung out with babies forever? Polly feels as though she's been able to contribute, and I don't have to spend hours driving Eve everywhere. Win-win. And you know what else is a win-win?
What?
Listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search a Poke Storytime. It's a win for you because you get entertainment, and it's a win for us because you watch us.
Yes.
But there's a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I'm just like, absolutely, we should have brought it up earlier. This is definite case and just like communicate early and often. Yeah. But mom, what are you doing? Why withhold this information? Just give your baby a spoon. That's all I got to say.
Sharks, spoons. Did we think about spoons? Sharks, I've come to pitch spoons to you. Not normal spoons, spoons for babies. Take it or leave it, sharks.
Take it or leave it.
But there is a little bit left to this story,
Ooh,
sharks.
I'll take that offer.
Ooh, so let's get into it. Polly is still pretty annoying. Anytime we mention how well Eve is doing in preschool, Polly puffs up and shamelessly, openly fishes for praise and credit in getting us in there. And to my chagrin, despite the matter seeming to be resolved, she still continues to remind us how inexpensive it would be if Eve attended preschool at her work, and is even grows so bold as to suggest we move closer to her. I swear this woman grows more and more insufferable every year since she became a grandmother. But rest assured, Reddit, so long as Mark values our marriage in the slightest, moving closer to Polly will never, ever happen. And there you have it. And that's the end of the story. My mother-in-law paid for our vacation. Now she wants a refund?
I have an itemized receipt here of everything that you owe me.
Okay, so please tell me if I'm crazy or not. It's our daughter's birthday next week, and normally we go to Disney or Universal, but we just couldn't swing this year. Even if we didn't go to the parks, it just wasn't feasible. Resort prices have gone way up. By the way, this comes from Remarkable Sweet 3023, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, we explained this, and she understood. But then she started worrying and didn't want us to spend too much money on her birthday. It just broke my heart. And we tried to tell her not to worry about it. My mother-in-law has asked why she was so upset, so I explained. We had gone last year and stayed at a beautiful family resort with tons of activities. But mother-in-law and father-in-law weren't able to go with us. So mother-in-law suddenly wanted us all to go since they didn't get to go last year. She wanted us to go to the parks too, but we turned that down because it's just too much for our youngest right now. She's very easily overwhelmed and overstimulated, and it's been worse recently. But we really wanted them to go with us to the family resort, and she made it seem like she wanted to take us all, as in pay for it, since we obviously couldn't afford it. Then things got weird.
So wait, but she made it seem like? So did she ever say that, or was she just very insistent that y'all go? Because I haven't seen her really say that she'll pay for anything anywhere.
Then things got weird. They didn't want to get a second room. They only have 2-bedroom villas available, and the pull-out couches are gross. We tried to use it last year, and I fell into a dip in the bed. I couldn't get up without help, and it was covered in crumbs and dirt. We told them we weren't comfortable sharing a 2-bedroom with 6 people. We would have either been sharing the small second bedroom with the queen and a pull-out with me, my husband, and our 2 kids, while they took the huge master bedroom, or the kids would have to sleep on the couch in the living room. They're still very afraid of the dark, and more so in strange places, and our oldest has major anxiety. So we got the second room after some debate, but they were still being odd and making odd comments. Things like asking what they were going to do there since we aren't going to the parks, which we thought was odd, and our answer was, relax with your family and your grandkids. The response, we relax all the time. Then, out of nowhere, mother-in-law asked my husband if he thought the girls would be upset if they didn't go. Cue major confusion. My husband questioned them about why they didn't want to go, and they kept giving non-answers. So he told them if they don't want to go, they have to be the ones to tell the kids. They didn't say anything except that they didn't think the kids would care. My husband got them to understand that the kids would in fact care if they ditched us. In between this happening was my mother-in-law's birthday, but they went and spent all day at the casino. They stopped by around 9 p.m., right when our oldest and I were getting back from her sports practice. The girls had made cards and my husband got flowers, but I feel like she was disappointed and expected more. So I told her we would take them out to dinner in Orlando to celebrate her birthday. This was before I knew they wanted to back out of going. Now they said they would go as to not upset the kids, but I feel like they really don't want to go. Well, they've already told you they don't want to go. No, I feel like they don't really want to go. Like, yeah, they said that.
They've been like, we don't want to.
My husband and I feel like it's because there's no casino for them to go to. But on top of that, mother-in-law just told my husband this morning that we would have to pay them back for the hotel room. What the heck?
Yeah, so, again, I didn't hear them ever say anything about paying for the hotel room.
I think if it was just kind of like, maybe they were going to pay it, you should have been like, hey, are you guys paying? Because we can't afford this. Let us know.
We've all been in a situation like that. But you know what that situation demands? Clarity. But also, clarity, communication.
Clarity and communication.
They both work.
Am I wrong for being pissed about that? We wouldn't have booked it and told the kids had she not offered in the first place. And now I'm wondering if we would have gotten stuck paying her back for the park tickets as well as if we had given in to her wanting to do that.
So she did offer, because I remember very specifically the language in the beginning of the story was like that it was implied they were offering.
Yeah.
By being insistent that they go.
After we got our taxes back, we'll be fine, but that's not the point. We had made a point not to spend the extra money right now, which I thought was why she offered. I would have said no otherwise. So I told my husband I don't want to go anywhere with them at this point, and if the kids didn't already know, I'd cancel the whole thing. Now he's mad at me, saying I'm wrong and only want them to go for their money, but that's pretty much the point I'm making. We wouldn't be going at all if it weren't for my mother-in-law, and I explained to her that we could not afford it right now. So to get everyone excited about going after thinking we wouldn't be able to, then trying to back out of going less than a week before the trip, and telling us we have to pay for our own hotel room is just really messed up to do. And forcing us to go spend $1,000, a hotel and food, etc., that we didn't want to spend so that we don't let our kids down, because there's no way at this point that I'm going to tell them we can't. This is not a money issue for them. They're just fine in that department and spend their money frivolously all the time, but then get weird about money for other things.
Right, because they go,
well, this is ours. We hoarded this money for ourselves, not for you and your children.
We're also trying to save money to go see my dad this summer out of state, who was just diagnosed with lung and brain cancer on top of his COPD. I'm just so angry with them right now and I really don't want to go on vacation with them, but now we can't let down our daughters.
Whoever's got brain cancer and COPD, you should definitely take a trip with them because you're not going to be able to take a lot.
I think that you just have to go talk to your husband and say, like, hey, you know, like, I'm not saying that I want to use your parents for their money. I just was under the idea that they were paying for this, and we've already talked about this and we can't afford it. You know, like, we've already discussed this.
They tactically put you in this position. If you guys really can't afford it right now, like you said, you'll be fine after taxes.
Just take, like, the kids. I mean, you could always take the kids somewhere else, do something like fun that's cheaper.
I would just eat it, dude. I would eat
You
it,
would just go.
enjoy it. Yeah, it's over budget. As long as you're not putting yourself in like actual harm's way financially, there's a difference between like, I can't afford this right now and like, this will ruin our lives if we do this.
Sure.
Like, please do not do that.
In which case, like, never, yeah.
But it's like let go and enjoy the heck out of that place with your kids.
I think that's a conversation that you have with your partner and say, hey, like, now that we know that we're paying for this and your parents are not paying for this, are we okay with losing this money? You know,
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
you should
having
be on
that
the same page
conversation.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then moving forward, don't
rely on
not-
the parents,
yeah.
regardless of what they say.
Exactly.
Just be like, oh, okay, no, thank you.
Anticipate the rug pull.
Yeah. Would I be the a-hole if I told her how upset I am and that I feel like she tricked us into going? Or would that cause even more tension? I don't want to ruin our kid's birthday because I'm feuding with my mother-in-law, but I don't know if I can be the bigger person when all I want to do is be petty. The last thing I want to do is take my mother-in-law out for her birthday. The only thing I can say in her defense is that she also had cancer last year and went through chemo. She's now cancer-free, but we think it caused some behavior changes. But part of me wants to give her some grace, but the other part says that's not a good enough excuse. And there is an update.
I'm going to dip into the Bible of okay story time real quick. Clear communication early would have solved this conundrum.
Yeah, it's just saying like, hey, are we on the same page about you paying?
At the very least, it would have made any sort of who's in the wrong questions unambiguous. It would be like the people who explicitly told you they'd be paying for all of this and can obviously afford it are now 100% in the wrong.
And also, I don't know if you should necessarily be like, you lied to me, blah, blah, blah. I think you could potentially go to your mother-in-law and say, hey, like, I think there was a little bit of a miscommunication. I had originally thought that you guys were offering to pay, and sorry if that's not what you meant.
Yeah, and you can say exactly why.
Yeah, and just say,
because
like,
it does feel that way.
But there's an update. Yes, it was a misunderstanding and lack of communication, but it's always a lack of communication with my mother-in-law and my husband, and I said this to him multiple times. This isn't the first time she has failed to communicate properly and caused problems. Or my husband has failed to communicate properly with me and caused problems. And then I look like an ungrateful a-hole.
Where's your communication, OP? What? What are we talking about? You also didn't communicate well, right?
Two-way street. She has a problem with not being able to just say no or tell people the truth and then beats around the bush, making everyone else try to figure out what she means, which I don't do well with. I also find it very selfish that they're so worried about what they're going to do on a trip that's supposed to be about their granddaughter's birthday and family time. We don't mind if they go do their own thing, but to not want to go at all because they can't go to the casino? That's an assumption, not what they said, though. We both should have clarified, but there has also been a lot of tension between us for months. No, this is not the first time something like this has happened, and our kids know that. We usually are very honest with them in kid-friendly ways about what's going on. My mother-in-law said/did something during Christmas that really pissed me off that I don't want to get into. And she knows I was very upset with her, and my husband did back me up on it. But he's always in the middle trying to mediate. Either way, even if I did assume with good reason, because they offer to pay for hotel rooms a lot for us, which my husband usually turns down, because he doesn't want things held over his head, I don't think it was right. I'm not sure if my husband was the one to convince her to go. I wouldn't be surprised. But from my perspective, she's the one that said we should go after I explained we didn't want to spend the money on a hotel room. Hence my assumption that she wanted to pay. If a friend came to me and said how they can't go on a trip because they can't afford it right now, I wouldn't go and start talking about how we should go on said trip and make it seem like I would pay because I know they can't afford it right now. Then turn around and try to back out of going and tell them they now have to pay for everything. That just doesn't seem right to me. To clarify the 2-room situation, we always get 2 rooms unless we're sharing a large multi-level house. Sharing a hotel room with family might work for most of you, but not our family. No one likes living with my father-in-law. My father-in-law is easily irritated and constantly picks on my husband, and my husband has really bad anxiety and can be very defensive. This is supposed to be a relaxing trip, and it would not be if we shared a room. Our youngest is autistic, and so am I, and my oldest and her dad are ADHD.
Really quickly, I have to say, I'm guessing that this resort is maybe of the Disney variety.
No, I think that was, yeah. We are not an easy bunch to share a room with, and we like to have our own space so we don't feel like we have to walk on eggshells. My in-laws know this. We haven't shared a room in a long time, and I'm really not sure why my mother-in-law thought it would be a good idea. My husband and father-in-law sharing a space for prolonged periods would ruin the trip for everyone. And I won't be surprised if there's at least 1 to 3 disagreements between them during the trip. I decided to cancel the 2 rooms that I booked together. I booked them, not my mother-in-law. And I rebooked just one for us and told them if they want to go, they can book their own room. Although I really wish they wouldn't come at this point. I don't want them to break my youngest daughter's heart. She is very emotional and sensitive and doesn't deserve disappointment. But to those who think I give in to everything, I definitely don't. My in-laws spoil my kids more than I do, and sometimes I have to tell my in-laws now. My daughter would never trust us again if we cancel completely after us telling her we couldn't go, then telling her we are going, then to take it back again would break her. And at this point, it's too late to cancel it.
And just really quickly, I know you don't want your kid to be disappointed that grandma and grandpa aren't there.
Yeah.
Lie to your child.
Say they're, I don't know. Say they're busy.
To your
They're
children.
Sick. I just want my baby to have an amazing birthday and be happy. All she wants to do is go to see the volcano erupt at Disney Springs. Literally. That's it.
That's literally
That's
all
it.
she wants.
We sat and watched it last time for at least 30 minutes straight before we convinced her it was time to leave. She could care less about going to the parks. We usually stay at an amazing family resort with tons of included amenities.
That kid's awesome.
It's just like, I just want to see it blow up.
Kid's like, I know what I like.
And
okay?
that's it, okay?
Sue me.
Sue me. I know what I like. I'm 8 years old and I know what I like.
I like geysers.
Someone on a local post I made said to have my in-laws take her by herself, but my daughter has serious separation anxiety. And my in-laws will never truly understand her or believe us when we tell them not to do something because it will upset her.
But it's a tried and true narrative of younger versus older generations.
Yep, they're like, she'll be fine. Just stop babying her.
Exactly. Just throw her in the river. She'll learn how to swim.
Thankfully, she started to speak up for herself, and she's not afraid to hurt anyone's feelings just to make them feel comfortable, while she is uncomfortable. We will be okay financially once we get our taxes back. There's just a lot of other things that money should be going to. But I think we will use most of it to go visit my dad over the summer. I care more about that than getting a new dishware or couch, which we really do need. Both are broken. My glasses also broke yesterday. No! Right before I made this post, and the dishwasher 2 days ago. Ooh, that sucks though. Glasses are not cheap and you need them.
There are dishwashers.
That's also true. Don't necessarily need them. They do make life a lot easier.
You got 2 dishwashers right here.
So as much as I would be okay with not going, I just can't do that to my kids. Our oldest would completely understand, but our youngest would be devastated, and I don't want that to be a core memory. So I'll suck it up and play nice for her. Let her see the volcano. Let us see it erupt. My sister thinks that my mother-in-law is jealous of my relationship with my husband and how much we love each other and how he protects me and stands up for me. And that she likes to stir the pot sometimes and just has a weird competition with me in her head. Her relationship with her husband is not a loving one. He is very controlling, and we're both convinced she's actually a sapphic, but too scared to admit it to herself, which is just horribly sad, but it makes sense for how she grew up and her generation. But you know what's not horribly sad? The fact that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search a Poke Storytime.
Makes me glad every time.
Makes me so freaking happy.
I'm like,
man. But there is a little bit left to the story. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm glad that y'all still went. I'm glad everything was good. The vacation went fine. You did it. You didn't put your guys, in financial danger. But you gotta just know moving forward that these parental units are not to be relied upon, unless it's in like writing, like a contract, explicit, clear communication.
I think probably there was a lot of miscommunication, but I think it definitely is still annoying that they even implied it. And I think you have a right to be annoyed about that. I think it's just going forward, you can't rely on these people, unfortunately, which sucks, but is the truth.
And if they ask why, just be like, oh yeah, this.
You made me
This
think
is why.
that you were going to help us and
Yeah.
you didn't.
I don't
Oh,
believe
yeah.
in walking on eggshells most of the time.
No.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
important. Sometimes it's necessary. But oftentimes it's like, the truth shall set you free. You're not in charge of how other people feel about their life.
Exactly. But there is a little bit left. They don't ever have spicy sleep, and he's cheated in the past, but they both decided to stay for whatever stupid reason. This is what my husband tells me and comes from things his dad has told him, which is just super gross to tell your kid, adult or not. But they're good grandparents, and my kids love them.
Okay.
Okay. They can make their own decisions on it when they grow up. They're already aware of my father-in-law being a grumpy a-hole and prefer my mother-in-law to him, and they aren't afraid to tell him he's being a grumpy a-hole in different words.
Grandpa, you being stinky.
You're being a stinky little grandpa.
Grandpa being stinky.
But that's the end of that story.
Trigger warning. This story discusses eating disorders. If you want to skip that, just a heads up. My mother-in-law made hurtful comments about me. Now I don't want to host Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Turkey time.
My partner and I have dated 4 years, lived together for 2. When I first met his mom, I was very nervous and I wanted her to like me. I learned some customs that show respect and I did them. By the way, this comes from Few Do Didi Wood on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I cooked meals from scratch for her that she loved. Holidays were hosted in our home. I would cook for days, and serve the whole family, making sure every single detail is perfect. OP really went, a day of cooking is already crazy, but days?
Days is nuts.
That is pretty nuts.
Yeah. My mom gets it all done pretty quick, but she does bake pies and stuff before.
It's a lot. Holidays were lovely. I never had times like that with my own family. I was grateful to the point of tearing up many times, not in front of my partner's family. My partner and I have a business that takes up much of our time and haven't seen his mother much lately, so I plan to pick her up, take her to a local coffee shop she enjoys, and to lunch. How sweet. As soon as she saw me, she immediately commented that I had lost weight and complimented me multiple times, then asking to take selfies with me so she could post them on Facebook because I looked so pretty. I have had issues with eating disorders in the past, so the comments did make me feel weird, but I knew she was trying to compliment me, so I didn't say anything. We went to lunch and she wanted to take more selfies and again was complimenting my looks. She said, "You were okay before, but too overweight." Oh, mommy-o. That's not a great thing to
Top
say.
3 things never tell a woman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Coming
1,
from another woman.
you look overweight. Number 2, what's in your purse? Number 3, how old are you?
You can't ask what's in your purse?
Or you can't look in the purse.
But you can
I
ask
think that
what's in your
sounds
purse.
both.
You can't ask what's in your purse?
I think you can ask, hey, do you have blank in your purse? But you can't say, what do you have in your purse?
Really?
I think.
I can see that.
Oh.
Chat.
What do they have in their purse?
You can't ask that.
What's in there?
Shut up, dude, stop.
Chat, let me know what's in your purse.
No,
No. Dude, you just made the mistake times 300. Times 300. You fool!
I accept whatever punishment I get. I want to know the truth.
300 purse strap lashings. Whoopah!
Where's the paddle?
You're right. So she said, "You were okay before, but too overweight." I don't know why this hurt me, but it did.
What do you mean you don't know
I
why?
can see why. I blinked back tears, and then the food came. I couldn't eat it. I found myself pushing food around and only taking some bites of dry salad.
Oh, no.
My partner and mom ate, either not noticing that I wasn't really eating or not commenting on it. I did not want to cause a scene because, again, I knew she was trying to say something nice, but she is very blunt.
Okay, the fact that your mom and sister do not care about your protein intake, red flag. What the heck is that? Are they even like real family members?
Yeah, dude. Are they even doing big proteins?
Yeah.
Ooh.
You know, the second John walked to the house today, I said, "Bro, did you get your protein in today?" He said, "No." And I said, "I got you."
That's
Yeah.
true.
And Riley has been replacing peanut butter with peanut butter flavored protein, so you know he's getting the freaking protein to the max.
It's whey protein and then peanut butter powder. So instead of actual peanut butter that has fat in it, it has
I thought it was
more-
peanut butter powder protein.
No.
Say that fast 3 times.
No.
But she is not aware that I used to starve myself. She probably wouldn't have said that if she did. After lunch, she needed to go to the restroom, so I helped her. She's in her 80s and uses a cane, but needs to be steadied. Oh, man, so she's old.
Mm-hmm.
She is old as crap. While she knew she was washing her hands, she told me, you know, I never liked you, but you're okay now. That did it. I couldn't hide the hurt anymore. I teared up and stammered awkwardly that her son would be right back to help her walk to the table. I went to the table and quietly told my partner I would take an Uber home, that I was upset about something his mom said, and I would see him at home. His mom tried to call me, but I decided not to answer. I guess the reason I'm feeling so upset is that I feel like I'm only worth something if I'm thinner. I also thought that she always liked me. She acted like she did. Now it all feels fake. I don't want to host Thanksgiving anymore. Why should I overwork myself cooking for days for someone who only liked me when I lost a few pounds? My partner thinks I'm overreacting and misunderstood her. He said it's normal for mother-in-laws to not like their daughter-in-laws at first because we take away their sons.
Why are we normalizing that behavior?
Whoa!
I don't know. I mean, like, it is a trope, but like we shouldn't normalize that behavior.
It literally makes just zero sense to me. What did you do when you got together with the person that birthed the kid that you're not?
Yeah, dude.
What happened?
Completely whack. It might happen. Doesn't mean that you have to accept it and roll over.
Makes no sense. But I didn't take him away. He's the one who hasn't made an effort to spend much time with her. Every time we see her is because I organized it. But she's old, she's a blunt Asian mom, and she doesn't know I had eating disorders, so I'm the a-hole for wanting to cancel Thanksgiving. Should I just forgive her and suck it up so the family has a nice Thanksgiving together? Am I being a huge baby? We have an update. But before we get into it, my thought here is that it is not OP, but OP's partner that should be standing up to his mom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think like our general philosophy here is that the person who has the closer relationship should usually be the one who steps in and sets boundaries, right? So if it's your mom that is being cruel to your significant other, it's your responsibility to be like, hey, mom, that's okay. It's not like yes, your partner could also do that, but ideally, if you're trying to smooth things over, it should come from you.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, you're not really being a good partner.
And just red flag about that he's like, oh, well, mother-in-law.
It's normal. Yeah. Whack.
It's normal that he's not like saying like, oh my gosh, like what she said
Let
about
me
the eating
do
disorder
something about it
and everything. It's like it should be very abundantly clear to your partner that this is bad and that he should be the one to talk to her and tell her, no, this is bad.
I think he's absolving his like the role that he needs to play in this dynamic.
Yes.
You know, and like he needs to do something.
Yes. But we have an update. Opie says, after speaking to a Filipina friend of mine, reading everyone's comments and calming down, I decided to talk to mother-in-law. She indeed did not mean to hurt my feelings or say anything with bad intentions. She really thought she was just complimenting me. She was very sorry for hurting me and wants to move on. She says she accepts me and loves me. Honestly, I've had a rough couple of months with unrelated issues, and I think her comments yesterday were the straw that broke the camel's back.
Nick says Asian makes sense. Mother-in-law is probably an immigrant as well. Nicole H says it's a culture thing that Asians have normalized for generations. She was raised in an Asian culture, says Sophia Calon. I do remember hearing a little bit about this, where it's like more normal to say this.
And it's tough if you find yourself in a cultural situation where it's like maybe in that again in that specific culture, everyone's just like so blunt, and especially if you're unaware of it, you're like, whoa, why did you just like say that to me? Not that it does not justify it at all, by the way, to be clear.
But it does so when I was teaching English in China, the parents would just like call out who was fat and who was not, like very it's like, oh, like you've gotten like really fat, you need to work on that. Like, but it was just very blunt. And so I think it could be like a cultural thing.
Well, Opie said, my boyfriend did get defensive when we talked about what happened, but he agreed to back me up if it happens again and to talk to her about not mentioning my weight. He also supports me correcting her or letting her know if she's being rude in the future. As far as Thanksgiving, I decided that the family being together is more important than my hurt feelings. I do enjoy making it nice for everyone. We don't know how many years she may have left, and I think I can let this incident go for now. I'm not confident that she will change, but I can probably handle anything for a couple days a year. We're heading into update number 2. I do like what the mom said. It does seem like she's, even if not at 100% comprehension, like definitely.
Yeah. And it's like, I think intention does mean a lot. And maybe she actually really didn't mean to hurt OP, and it was more a culture.
Yes.
Not necessarily excusing that behavior, but I think like giving a little bit more grace for someone who wasn't raised in the same culture.
For sure. The context should understand. I don't think that intention should be used to let her off the hook, which is not what you're saying, of course. But the thing that makes me really hopeful here is the fact that she didn't just stay staunch in her status, that she was like, oh,
sorry,
I apologize, and you mean a lot to me. And that tells me that there is definitely room for her to continue to understand from OP.
And I would actually love to hear from chat in the comments, anyone that was raised in an Asian household or is a child of immigrants, whether it be from China or a Filipino, what your experience of this is.
Yes,
because obviously we don't really know, but would love to hear how this comes off from your perspective.
Yes, educate us, please, and thank you. We're looking forward to it in the comments. But let's get into update number 2. I'm now realizing that all of the compliments my mother-in-law was giving was her trying to make up with me. Before this lunch, we didn't see each other for 3 months. Yes, we have been very busy with work, but honestly, I stopped messaging her weekly and making plans because she had texted me in all caps after I had an argument with her son. I was mad at him for telling his mom about an argument. I'm mad at his mom for getting involved and essentially yelling at me over text. I didn't say much back to his mom and just stopped responding to her. Someone explained to me the concept of tempo in Filipino culture to me. When you're upset, you distance yourself from the person who upset you, basically until they grovel or make it up to you somehow. Without realizing it, this is what I was doing to her. So when she saw us, she gave me a bracelet and was giving me a bunch of compliments. She was trying to make up with me, except I didn't see them as compliments because I'm a white American who was taught that commenting on weight at all is inappropriate. Throw in prior eating disorders, and yes, of course, I was sensitive to the remarks and had a meltdown. Would I have preferred an apology and for her to not get too involved? Of course, but she grew up in the Philippines. It's a whole other culture, and I can't be so close-minded to think that other people don't have different ways of thinking. And by the way, if you want to expand your ways of thinking, you can always tap the profile to join us live. We're probably live right now, so get on in here. But Mr. Samuel, we are not 100% done with the story. Quick check. How are we feeling at this point?
I'm feeling better. I mean, Wingles in the chat says, lol, it's normal Asian here. So Wingles also says, moms and titas and obachans will say you lost weight / gained weight, but then stuff you with food, lol. So we got some cultural context here from Wingles. Appreciate you. Nick says it's very Filipino to comment on weight. They will also tell you diet, but then gives you thirds and fourths. I think I'm on the side of forgiving the mother. I don't think this was super intentional.
It seems like we're on the path.
Yeah.
We love being on the path. Now she knows it's not appropriate to bring up weight. She was so upset for hurting me when we talked to her. She was crying. Oh, I've never seen her cry. I know you guys don't think I was the a-hole, but I'm thinking I was a bit of an a-hole. I'm not too pleased with my boyfriend for getting so defensive about his mom. He has agreed to start couples counseling because clearly there are some issues there. In just a few short sentences, I think we went even further down the path. We're in couples counseling. The mom cried. She felt so overcome with emotion of being sorry.
We are ending on a good note.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Let's keep going.
Let's freaking do it.
Yeah.
And with that is where that story ends. This episode ends, and this stream ends.
Oh my
We're
word.
at the end here, y'all.
That's true.
Final countdown. But lovely to be here.
Guys, what a
What
day.
a joy. What a day.
What a great
joy.
day.
It was lovely to spend time with you guys. I feel like I learned a lot this session.
Same.
And also
Same
shout
here.
out to the stories for not being as dark as sometimes they can be.
There we go. We had fun.
So, if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.